Going on, everybody? Good old JM here with you on this Throwback Thursday as we present yet another out of the archives right here on the Casa D18 Studios. JJ, I know, has been working tirelessly to comb through everything on the NoDQ channel, on the Jeff Meacham Network, on his own Casa D18 Studios, on the JHebert 95 Studios, the Simple Man brand, to present to you something that you may not have seen before, something that you haven't seen in a long time, perhaps. I know I'm looking forward to what the Renegade has in store, and I hope you are too. Kick your feet up, enjoy a little respite from the craziness of a Thursday, and enjoy this classic content right here on the Casa D18 Studios.
Now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
JHebert, the man, the myth, the legend. I was amazed, and I was looking to become a better skater myself, and I wanted to be like Gary.
When you look at a guy like this, he's one of the most talented people in his profession. He's been given gifts by God.
It can get frustrating at times when you're trying things that, that maybe don't come as quickly to you as other things. And, you never really felt that sense of frustration with Gary. It was always about improvement and positive reinforcement.
Was it really the end? Was that head injury really the end? God has called Gary to continue to be a blessing to others and to be a passionate example.
My name is JHebert, and this is the World Academy of Hockey, otherwise known as the Inside Edge.
I would recommend anybody that have a chance to come to his hockey school. I think it'd be well worth it. It'd be rewarding to all the kids and anyone who coaches, from whether it's an adult, a professional player, to a little kid like a mite or a squirt.
Gary, from day one, has been instrumental to my hockey career. I started out as a potential Division III player, and Gary brought me single-handedly through high school and into a top Division I prospect. I owe it all to Gary, the biggest legend on and off ice there's ever been.
Listen, watch, learn, be confident, and have faith. Those are the answers I was brought to. Yet, I only now am really learning how truly important those 5 things are.
Through preparation, through appropriate thoughtfulness and thinking, we can learn to untie the typical knots between our ears that drive us into underachievement and underperformance. And lo and behold, we can learn, I think, to fulfill our God-given potentials.
Gary has the innate ability to make people not only better players, but better people. The life lessons they learn from Gary are incredible.
I can always remember leaving that rink knowing as a player I got better, or I had something to improve on to get better. And I think that's what you excelled on as a coach, is giving us the knowledge to know what we needed to do to get better.
There's coaches who know the game, but can you communicate and create passion in your kids and in your players? And Gary's able to do that.
Gary's got great knowledge and the great hands, but more importantly, his ability to connect with people and care for them. His communication skills, to me, really stand out and separate him, and that's why he's one of the best, in the world.
Gary's a legend. He's a special man.
Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from JHebert Studios.
The following views are strictly the views of James Hebert and do not represent the views of everyone that is a part of FTW Productions or works with FTW Productions.
Straight from JHebert Studios, James covers the good, the bad, and the ugly, and gives his perspective on things. Now here is your host, James Hebert.
Do it live. Fuck it. Doing it live. Before we get into the hogwash and bullshit, how do we like the new setup? This is, I think, looking pretty decent, if I do say so myself. I think it came out pretty good. Let me know if you're watching this on demand. I doubt there's going to be a few people that are actually going to watch this on demand. I see I got one current viewer, so hello to you guys, sir. Enjoy the stream if you're going to be watching this live. Or woman, whoever. So yeah, there's a lot going on, obviously, with the future of FTW Productions and what my role is. And there's a lot of reasons for that, a lot of which has to do with the events during the scrum of AEW All Out 2022 and beyond, pretty much, because the drama has not really settled down that much since then. And I'm basically going to be breaking down why I have just decided, you know what, with the exception of one show a week and doing the monthly pay-per-views for the two biggest companies, maybe some Impact shows, I don't even know yet. I'm out of covering modern wrestling as a whole completely. That I'm going to just start off first and foremost, with the exception of open mic night and commentaries on the Jeff Meacham Network. I'm not covering wrestling on a weekly capacity anymore. I'm currently not even watching the weekly product anymore. I'm not tuning into Raw, SmackDown, AEW. I'm done with it. I'm not happy with how the industry is just a fucking cesspool of garbage. And I'm sick of pretending like it isn't, because I've seen way too much to just turn a blind eye to this shit anymore. It's fucking disgusting. For the record, if you could hear a fan, I was originally gonna just sweat my ass off if I ever got ranty, but I decided to say, fuck that. Because I'm not going to make any more sacrifices than I fucking need to for pro wrestling anymore. So if you hear a fan in the background and you're going to complain about it, number one, kiss my ass. If you hear the fan and don't complain about it, good on you. Alright, cool. I'm just going to start off with this. Right out of the gate. Everybody involved in that press scrum bullshit was in the wrong. Punk's in the wrong. The Young Bucks are in the wrong. Kenny Omega's in the wrong. Tony Khan is especially in the wrong, because he should have had way more control of his locker room than he does. Period. Everybody in that fucking group is to blame. And yes, I'm even throwing Colt Cabana in there as well. There's no fucking unguilty party in this. I understand we're going to be like, oh, you know, Kenny Omega, you know, Kenny Omega is coming, you know, saying whatever, like, Kenny Omega, he saved the fucking dog. Yeah, Kenny Omega also was along with the Young Bucks spreading the misinformation without actually vetting it with Punk in the first place. So, let's not pretend like Kenny Omega's a full-on fucking saint here because he saved the dog, alright? Like, good for Larry. I'm glad Larry was safe because of Kenny or whatever the fuck, and he was, you know, with fucking Ace Steel's wife trying to protect the fucking thing. But, like, nah, dude. Absolutely nah. Fuck that. We're not gonna pretend like anybody doesn't have fucking blame in here. And, to this guy, Love, I'm gonna butcher your name, Love Pratrap saying Kabuhan, I think is how you pronounce that. You are right. CM Punk needs to come back. And I know he will be back to AEW. I hope you're right. But honestly, bro, I'm going to be real. Even if he is, I don't care anymore. I just don't care. I am completely apathetic to this. I swear to God, in about multiple different podcasts, I have vented about this shit. Way too fucking much, honestly. By the way, what's up, Lex? Thank you for joining the stream. But yeah, we're gonna be covering it, because I've been meaning to get this podcast out for a while. I actually meant to get this out when the shit initially happened, but I decided to wait because for a multitude of reasons. I didn't want to cover this at all, but I kept covering it anyway on open mic night of why I was done. I made it very clear there, but I also made it clear on like social media and various other places, like private group chats, public group chats. And I figured instead of just having my opinion all over the place, here's just the definitive guide as to why James is just done with modern pro wrestling. Here it is, in modern podcast form. You just watch this whole stream, you get the gist of why he's just done, right? Now, it's probably still going to be 3 to 4 hours, God knows how long, because there's a lot we got to fucking cover. I'll try to make it under 2, but I have no fucking promises there, but this is essentially what this podcast is going to be. I'm going to make it clear why I am done, and I'm probably going to be all over the place because I have no notes prepared for this, so that's why I said, fuck it, I'm just going to do it live and see what happens. I do have sources, I do have videos, so we're going to go and watch those, but before we get into anything, this just came out, not even, well, it says 49 minutes ago, but it's about an hour or so now ago from Wrestle Talk. This is the first thing we're going to talk about. Now, forget the source. If you're not a fan of Wrestle Talk, that's fine. I'm only using this as a reference, so just bear with me, obviously. I want to let this be known and put this out in the ether now, so that way people understand where we are as far as CM Punk stands in All Elite Wrestling right now.
I mean, am I being punked? Is this a joke? Is it Groundhog Day? Is this Punk Saturni? Punk Saturni? Because there's another day, another little tidbit of information about the all-out brawl and what is going on with CM Punk in AEW. CM Punk to absolutely nothing confirmed. And this one is a weird old twist in the tale because Shop AEW, the company's merchandise website, just dropped its Holiday 2022 ornament series, and a CM Punk 2.5-inch round glass ornament is one of the featured items, which number 1 looks like a grenade, and number 2, why is it not called a bauble? It's wrestling rules, you're not allowed to touch the baubles. Now the listing says that 200 of the items are up for sale, and they are fairly prominently listed under the new arrivals section of the website. Now obviously, these butt ugly Christmas decorations aren't that interesting on their own, but they do suggest that because AEW has dropped new licensed merch with Punk's name on, that his AEW contract has not yet been bought out. So that means that it still could be bought out, as is the rumour going around, or it won't at all, and then we're talking, is Punk going to be just returning to AEW television, potentially after being visited by 3 Christmas ghosts who teach him not to be a knob backstage, or is he just going to sit out the rest of his AEW contract at home?
So that's the first story, right, that has come out about all this bullshit. Right, so CM Punk has current merch dropped now on AEWshop.com currently, as we speak, okay? So that means that either he's not gonna try to get himself released, or they do buy out his contract, and they're just trying to squeeze every little penny they can out of him until they eventually fill out their process, which, that's shady in and of itself, that they're trying to squeeze every money. Like, regardless of whatever you think of Punk, right, that's pretty fucking shady. That's just carny bullshit, 101. There's Exhibit, I don't even know how many of these are going to be, but A, here's Exhibit A. We'll give it a letter counter here of why I'm done with the fucking sport, because, like, why do you gotta do that? And even if this comes out that he is coming back, man, does that make Meltzer look like a complete asshole. And clearly he was doing those reports as a fucking hit job. Because clearly he didn't like what Punk said to him at the press scrum and about the dirt sheets at the press scrum. That's what that tells me. Which, by the way, love him or hate him, everybody deserved their fair share of shit on that. Every one of you deserved it, especially the ones that are actually reporting shit. Not Wrestle Talk, not any of the other guys that are reporting what Fightful and what frickin' Wrestling Observer are promoting. No, I'm talking those type of people that are actually breaking information. Bill Batty, all of them. You all deserved your fair share of shit there. Alright? Let's not pretend like you didn't have a fucking hand in that. I brought that up to start because I find it interesting that we're already jumping the gun immediately. Because that's typically what the IWC does, which I'll get to in a minute. Where there is a possibility of something to actually happen. But we actually have no basis or justifiable claim that actually shows that that could be what's happening. There's no substantial evidence at all in a lot of these reports. Right? So I found it interesting that that literally just dropped after all these fucking stories coming out about how they're trying to buy out his contract and all this shit. Like, I find it hilarious, the contradiction in every fucking where. And then it turns out, hey, this isn't what's happening, right? Now, granted, AEW could just be doing this to counter the dirt sheets at this fucking point. Which, fair enough in that regard as well, but, like, this is just fucking, this is such a mess in the wrestling community, man. It's such a mess that we even have to come to that point, if that's even the fucking reason. But I found that interesting that that was literally just reported, right? Now, we have other fucking things here, obviously. I'm gonna skip over the whole Colt Cabana thing, right? But this is another thing that was reported on this video from Cultaholic, which, again, begs the fucking question, why. Let's talk about the pettiness of WWE real quick before we even get into the full-on pettiness of AEW. Yo, you really think WWE was going to go unscathed because they've been producing decent television? No. That's not.
I returned to national TV last night on AEW. I love wrestling, but in wrestling, everything means something. Others look to the stars or the bones scattered across the floor to divine the future. In wrestling, we just go, that's Colt Cabana, I mean, Punk's And it's not just us fans who do that, it seems, as WrestleVotes wrote of the reappearance, saying Colt Cabana showing up on Dynamite last night didn't go unnoticed in Stamford. That's all I'll say on it right now. Cryptic ... Fightful also noted that Colt on Dynamite was a huge signal to WWE that if CM Punk was not done with AEW before, he certainly is now. Fightful said that one source within WWE that was familiar with both Punk and Cabana said they'd be shocked if the two could ever work together again. The WWE source said that they haven't heard anything even resembling an update on the relationship between Punk and WWE though, and that they wouldn't feel comfortable officially reaching out to him considering the situation, but there was chatter that he had caught the wrestling bug again during his time in AEW, so maybe he'd be willing to set aside his past grievances and give WWE a go, especially after being visited by those ghosts. After all, it's Christmas. I know it's November. Shut the f*** up.
Alright. So, number one, this is wishful thinking, Paul. This is very much wishful thinking. You mean to tell me, after all the bullshit that he dealt with, and all the shit he's been saying previous, that he's willing to fucking work with you again? Like, dude, get out of La La Land. You're just trying to stir the fucking pot just to piss off AEW, which again leads me to my next point. His pettiness with AEW for beating him in the fucking Nielsen rating. That means Jack and shit and Jack went home. Alright? Nielsen hasn't been relevant since the fucking 90s. Alright? It just hasn't. It will not be. Alright? There's so many ways to watch AEW and all types of fucking wrestling. The figures aren't what they fucking seem in Nielsen. They just aren't. Alright? You want any proof of that? Watch the Danhausen interview with fucking Brian Quinn of Impractical Jokers. Fucking Impractical Jokers did 7.2 million people, and fucking at least 3.5 to 4 million of those were domestic in this country. Alright? Like, so that should tell you all you fucking need to know about how bullshit the Nielsen rating is. It just is. It's not a substantial fucking figure. It never has been. Hasn't been since fucking 2010, really. Alright? Streaming is probably the future in that regard, and we need to fucking update those numbers to be that, right? But Triple H got petty because AEW beat them in the fucking Nielsen rating, or whatever the fuck. You know, the demographic, the 18-34, as if that means a bunch of anything, right? And it does, for advertisers at least, but, like, who gives a shit, right? But long and short of it is, Triple H went on some sort of interview, and he basically said, AEW beat developmental. Good for them. You mean the same developmental that your father-in-law forced to be on NXT, or, I'm sorry, forced to be on USA, alright? The same developmental, NXT was forced to just be put on the USA Network for 2 hours just to compete with AEW to try and crush them. The same developmental that failed. The same brand that you said you wanted to get out of the developmental stank. So not only do you bury AEW, which is already petty in and of itself, but then you bury your own fucking developmental? Your own third brand. That you put your heart, soul, and tears into. Nice one, Hunter. Man, that will really get Phil to come in. Like, are you serious? Like, Punk may be an asshole. He's not stupid. Alright? He's not dumb. He's not going to make that same mistake twice. And if he does, then I'll eat my fucking words. But you got to be fucking kidding me, right? Like, you gotta be out of your fucking mind with this. That's number 2. Number 3, why do you even want Phil back anyway? For business. Yeah, because he can fucking draw ratings. But personally, and even professionally, you have said, oh, he's a weird cat. Now, granted, I'm sure you were willing to try and fucking work with him and try to get past your issues. That part, I could see you not being petty about. But how long is that actually gonna fucking last? You've gone out of your way, Paul, to bury this guy in public and in private on more than one occasion. Right? Why do you all of a sudden want him? And even then, you like, made a fucking backhanded compliment where he's like, okay, I want to bring him in, but it's not going to be in a full-time fucking basis like it was before when he was here. Like, hello? Did you not see the fucking numbers he was drawing AEW? Albeit they weren't fucking great. There weren't as much as... He still fucking drew. You're telling me you don't want to fucking put a guy like that on television every week? Even just to cut a promo. So, like, so many contradictions, so much petty. So much petty. All the petty from Paul Levesque there. Like, I can't even begin to fathom why you would think that essentially he's okay to be bringing in. Alright? I don't know why you would think that. You know that's going to end in disaster. If it ended in disaster in AEW, a place where a year ago he was happy to be in, and now he's fucking miserable about the entire industry for reasons, by the way, that are justified, which I'll get to, by the way. I'm not saying he's fucking right in the way he handled it, but they are justified. Because, again, everybody shares their fucking blame here. It's not just fucking Phil. That narrative needs to go out the fucking window real goddamn quick. Alright? But if he hated it fucking there, after a year there, alright? Yes, we are yelling today, Kuzan, and I'll get to the other comments in a minute. If he hated it there, what the fuck makes you think he's gonna like it any better in the very place that he said he got sick in the fucking first place? I think Jeff Meacham said it best. The industry made him sick. Thank you, by the way, Jack. The industry made you sick. So, Paul, get this idea that you're going to get fucking Phil to come to WWE. It's not happening. It's just not going to happen. I actually think there's a stronger chance that he shows back up in AEW or not come back to wrestling, period, than he does coming back to WWE. I'm dead serious. I know a lot of these people say, well, he was thinking about joining the WWE. No, he didn't. He was being a fucking businessman. Punk never needed to come back to wrestling. He never needed to come back. Motherfucker still has that Glow contract. And he has enough money where he is set for like the next 10, 15 years. And if that fucking runs dry, he's already fucking retired anyway. He can come back to wrestling as a fucking commentator and make a paycheck there. Hell, I think he was making a paycheck for UFC's developmental deal. So the dude was set. He had jobs lined up. Alright? He doesn't need to come back. This narrative that Phil ever needs to come back to wrestling, that's ludicrous. That's ludicrous. He only went to WWE to get a better deal with AEW, which he was successful in. That was it. If you are a wrestler, you try to leverage yourself to get the best fucking deal. That's exactly what Maxwell Jacob Friedman did. That's exactly what Punk did when he signed with AEW. But did he actually want to go to AEW? Was that going to be his first choice? No, it was always going to be AEW. So, narrative debunked. Alright, fuck off with he's going to come back to WWE. I don't even want to hear that bullshit. Alright? And if for no other goddamn reason, and he's made it very well known, alright, he doesn't even want to come to WWE because of their Saudi deal. He is not going to WWE for that Saudi Arabia shit. Guaranteed he's not going there. You couldn't pay him any amount of money in the world to go there. Alright? That's out the fucking question. Whether it's smart or not, right now it is. We'll get to Saudi in a minute. That is going to be covered on this. But I'm not even... That's like the very last thing we're going to be fucking covering. But I want to talk about this because the ratings aren't good without Punk. I know a lot of people say that, but let's hear this.
And with Punk seemingly gone and the Elite off screen, AEW TV has been lacking a bit in star power, which has in turn seemingly had a bit of effect on Dynamite's TV viewership numbers. Because during the Punk era, Dynamite was hitting that million mark a fair bit. However, they have been consistently under that in recent weeks. Now, in fairness to AEW, this dip has not been helped by a string of big sporting events such as the MLB playoffs and this week's World Series.
Not a good excuse.
With such a topsy-turvy, surprise-filled show, did things improve this week? Well, according to Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics, this week's Dynamite drew in 911,000 viewers. That is down 9% from last week's figure of 997,000. The show also posted a 0.21 in the 18 to 49 demo, which is also down from 0.32 of the week prior. Overall, Dynamite finished third for cable originals on Wednesday, according to Showbuzz Daily.
They finished fucking third. Third!
And given the stiff competition, it will not be a massive surprise to AEW officials, especially with WWE also struggling this week. One thing is very clear though, Americans, you guys love you some sports, didn't you?
So, yeah. There you go. Alright. First off, hello Julia in the chat. Hello Jack. Well, I already said hello to you, Jack. But we got Menace and Love Again in the chat, so you have no clue what you're talking about, he says. Okay. I've been around the block, buddy. I'm pretty sure I know what I'm talking about in this instance here. Love says he's saying the truth. Yeah, I'm saying the truth about Punk. That I want to make it very clear. What Punk fucking did is fucking dumb. I don't want to make that... I want to make sure people understand where my stance is on Phil. Phil was an idiot. There's no excuse for being that unprofessional after you just won your second world championship in that company after returning from injury. No fucking excuse, alright? And Tony had no excuse by not fucking cutting that goddamn mic when it was time. Kuzan and I have fucking been talking about this in private, I think. Like, Jack, we even talked about this. Like, you know, the fact that Tony did absolutely nothing and just stood there and just kind of let him walk all over him like he was his bitch the entire time was fucking unbelievable. Which, by the way, speaking of which, we're just going to get right into those fucking comments. Because I want to make sure we digest this all over again. I want to make sure we dissect this bit by bit. Because I want to make sure people understand where Tony ultimately fucked up here. Because there is not enough. There is not enough fucking accountability going to Tony Khan in this situation. Granted, Punk was a fucking moron. So were the Elite, and so were fucking goddamn Tony Khan. Alright? And, Jack, I'll actually read this comment from Jack here. I think I mentioned that even if Tony said, we aren't taking any more questions, Punk would have walked all over him anyway. But he could have done a lot more. Yeah. The fact that he didn't, and he just stood there. Dude, Vince would have socked him in the fucking mouth. Say what you will about Vince McMahon. And plenty of people have. I've been, you know, public enemy #1 of fucking Vince McMahon, alright? I'm probably banned from fucking Stanford at this goddamn point. Alright? And listen, everybody's a fucking human, but and mistakes do happen, love, but here's my fucking point. It's one thing to make mistakes. It's another thing to fucking admit when you made those goddamn mistakes and then take fucking accountability for when you made those mistakes. Which Punk did not do, which Omega did not do, which the Young Buck did not do, and ultimately the person that did in that entire scenario was the owner himself right on screen, Tony Khan, and by that point it was already too late. The fate of AEW here was already fucking sealed before he could even have the chance to fucking say it, which we're going to get to. I'm just going to play it. It's by Denise Delcedo because I'm not looking to get a fucking full-on claim by AEW here.
A lot. Just say your name and your...
Cool. Hi, Nick Hausman with Wrestling Inc.
By the way, if somehow I still get fucking stream is offline because of claim, let me know in the fucking live chat. Because that did happen to me on the premiere of Don DeMarco's show. I know this isn't necessarily AEW's footage, it's Denise Salcedo's footage, but it is at an AEW event, and they are trying to fucking claim people left and right because they actually voiced their fucking opinion. Which, by the way, Tony, fuck you for that as well. I'm just fucking so mad that that's even happening. So, again, let me know if that's happening in the chat, please.
Start, Nick. Show of hands. Who here fancies themselves as a journalist? You're a journalist, Nick?
I try my best.
Okay. No, real quick.
Go ahead.
You still do improv?
No, not a little bit.
No? No. When you did improv, who'd you do improv with?
I did it with Scott Colton.
Okay, so you fancy yourself a journalist. Would you say you're friends with Scott Colton?
No, I haven't talked to Scott in some time.
So you're not friends with him?
No, Scott and I do not see eye to eye.
Oh, wow. Well, that makes two of us. My point is, if you fancy yourself a journalist, even if it's for the silly world of professional wrestling, and you have journalistic integrity, people who report things, mostly that are bullshit, and slanderous lies against myself.
Not just slanderous lies against himself, even though a lot of the stuff they were reporting was kind of true. It was half true. Alright. But just in general, reporting is bad. So I'll just make that fucking blanket statement right now.
If you are friends with somebody, you blew my spot. If you're not friends with them, I apologize. It's okay. But you should probably disclose who you're friends with.
I'm not friends with you.
I haven't had anything to do with Scott Colton in almost a decade. Probably wanted nothing to do with him even longer than that. It's fucking unfortunate that I have to come up here and speak on this when I'm on my time and this is a fucking business. Why I'm a grown-ass adult man and I decide not to be friends with somebody is nobody else's fucking business. But my friends, if I fall backwards, will catch me. Scott Colton, I felt, never would have. My problem was I wanted to bring a guy with me to the top that did not want to see me at the top. Okay? You call it jealousy, you call it envy, whatever the fuck it is. My relationship with Scott Colton ended long before I paid all of his bills. I have every receipt, I have every invoice, I have every email.
So, before I even continue with the rest of this, first bit he brings up is Colt Cabana, Scott Colton, alright? This is in reference, for those who have been living under a rock, and I don't blame you, this is in reference to the fucking Colt Cabana podcast when he was doing The Art of Wrestling, where he had CM Punk on and he was airing his grievances out with the WWE. Very fucking recklessly, mind you. Even back then. However, considering everything that fucking happened to him, regardless of how reckless he was completely in his fucking right to do so. Because they just treated him fucking deplorably. Alright? They then countersued Colt Cabana and fucking The Art of Wrestling in entirety. And CM Punk. By the way, this is how reckless it fucking was. Colt Cabana brought him in when they had a WWE 2K14 fucking sponsorship. So, I don't know what the hell Colt was thinking, but I think he thought he could get both sides of the fucking pot, and instead he ended up getting fucking sued. I think that's really what this comes down to. And I really ultimately think this is what caused Punk to be pissed off with Cole. Because if I was in Phil's shoes, I'd be pissed off too. You're going to have me on a fucking podcast, and yet you're going to have a WWE fucking sponsorship. I don't give a fuck if you did goddamn mocap. Why are you choosing this specific podcast to promote 2K? Unless he was contractually obligated and didn't have a choice in the matter. Okay? That could be a possibility. So Punk said he'd cover the expenses, which, even after everything, and even after he was already done with Colt Cabana as a fucking friend, and they had their issues after the fact, alright, he still offered him money, so he did try to. He did try to fucking pay the expenses, at least according to Phil. Still wasn't enough, apparently, according to Phil, and Scott Colton flat out refused the money. That was the issue here. Alright? I understand where Punk is coming from in his frustration and all of this. The biggest fucking problem with this is this was not the goddamn time. This was not the goddamn fucking place. To put into fucking perspective, alright? AEW was already going through a bunch of drama leading up to All Out. Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa, Sammy Guevara, Eddie Kingston. Fucking, they had this bullshit go on with him and Hangman Page, which we're gonna get into. They already had all this fucking locker room drama, all the way spanning to the beginning of the year when Cody left, right? Which turned out to be fucking full of bullshit anyway. Fucking Cody and the Elite fucking said so themselves on their Twitter or whatever. And they're all buddy-buddy, at least if you go by what the fuck is said on Twitter. It's fucking embarrassing to me that you had all this fucking bullshit drama go on. Alright? Whether it was work or shoot, and I don't even fucking know anymore. And everybody was pegging that as a bad thing. And it was hurting the product. Still is hurting the product. And then you go and pull this bullshit. Because of some petty fucking legal issue with Scott Colton. By the way, need I fucking remind you, I don't give a fuck how pissed off you are with him, Phil. At this point, get the fuck over yourself. It was 7 fucking years ago. Piss or get off the pot. Why do we have to keep fucking bringing this up? And don't pretend like you haven't. You have. May not have been in the fucking public eye, but you have vented a lot about fucking Scott Colton. Everybody's fucking said you have. It's not a fucking secret. It's one of the worst kept secrets in wrestling. To the point where the fucking New Legacy guys fucking know that you have beef with Scott Colton. Everybody knows this. Get over it. You guys are in a better company now. Why are you now going to just continue to fucking die on this hill? It makes 0 sense. You guys fucking won the lawsuit. Get the fuck over it. And Scotty, if you're not taking the fucking money that Phil's offering you, also you, get over yourself. Get over it. Are we seriously gonna hold a fucking grudge against each other? Fucking goddamn 7 years after the fact when you guys won the case. Even if you want to say fucking 4 years ago when the case concluded. Grow up! Grow up! You guys are acting like fucking children, dude. Phil, you want to talk about how, oh, I'm tired, I'm hurt, I'm fucking working with fucking children. Yeah, well, how do you think the rest of us feel when we see all this shit played out on screen? It's fucking embarrassing. You had plenty of opportunity to come out with your side of the fucking story. Plenty of fucking time. You could have fucking made your own goddamn YouTube channel. Or gone on any other fucking interview besides this one, and nobody would have batted an eye. You chose deliberately, planned out to do this right after the fucking scrum because you were crabby and you injured yourself again. Oh, and by the way, let's talk about the fucking elephant in the room, because I don't really give a fuck about this. I'm gonna fucking say it because, you know, call it cold, but the truth has a habit of being this way. The first time you got fucking injured, you went and dove into the fucking crowd, right? Weren't you specifically fucking told not to do it due to the fucking risks of being injured? By security themselves? You did it anyway. And you broke your fucking foot in the process. Moron. I said it then, I said it now, I'll say it now. Moron. Absolute fucking knobhead. And then you want to fucking... and then you want to take out your fucking aggression because you get injured again on a botched tope. Why are you even doing a tope at your fucking age? Like, there is a time and a fucking place to fucking be crabby and be pissed off, even if you're fucking injured. This was not the time, this was not the fucking place. You fucked up majorly here. I don't give a fuck. We're gonna play the rest of this, but I'm sure I got more to say on it, but that's basically my general thoughts on the Cole Cabana part.
I have the email where he says, and I quote, "I agree to go our separate ways. I will get my own lawyer and you do not have to pay anymore." That's an email that I have. The only reason the public did not see is because when I finally had to countersue him through discovery, we discovered he shared a bank account with his mother. That's a fact. And as soon as we discovered that fact and we subpoenaed old Marcia, he sent the email, "Oh, can we please drop all this?" Now, it's 2022. I haven't been friends with this guy since at least 2014, late 2013. And the fact that I have to sit up here because we have irresponsible people who call themselves EVPs and couldn't fucking manage a target, and they spread lies and bullshit and put into a media that I got somebody fired when I have fuck all to do with him.
This is the reaction. I want to go back to this real quick.
That I got
Watch Tony Khan's reaction here, because he full on signs off here on what Punk is saying here.
Lies and bullshit and put into a media that I got somebody fired when I have fuck all to do with him.
This is where I lay into Tony Khan. You're fucking telling me that you, as a company owner, didn't think to your fucking self, let me talk to Hangman Page and my fucking executive vice presidents and let them know that this is not on CM Punk why I am moving him to Ring of Honor out of AEW. You're telling me you couldn't fucking let people know? Your most important people, people in your most over faction or one of your most over factions, that you are doing this because you think it would be best for the locker room morale. You're telling me you couldn't do that? And he even confirms that he should have fucking said something to them. Later on, which we'll get to in this very fucking scrum, he literally confirms that he should have been better about that. Well, that's great now, isn't it, dumbass? Why didn't you do it then? Dude, the amount of fucking shit you could have avoided here is unbelievable. You created your own demise here just by not fucking communicating a very crucial step that you are willing to take to try to keep locker room harmony. When in all actuality, all you probably had to do was inform Punk, the EVPs, Hangman Page, and everybody else in company. Dark Order or whoever. That's all you had to inform. And nobody would have batted an eye. You have got to be 10 levels of fucking stupid not to think that this was gonna go down the way it went down. And I'm telling you, I have dealt with shit like this. This is not how you fucking handle it. This is not how you handle your bullshit, Tony. In WIW, if there's a fucking decision that I think is crucial to anything involving that fucking brand, I let my fucking team know. Same with Mike, same with Nikos, same with Casey. We all fucking communicate with each other. The fact that a rinky-dink CAW league is communicating better than the owner of a multi-fucking billion-dollar wrestling conglomerate is fucking embarrassing. It's embarrassing, Tony. All you had to do was fucking communicate. You stupid idiot. I'm gonna calm down now, because I think I just woke up my dad, right? I want to know what the fuck you were thinking here, Tony. I really do. Genuinely, I want to know. Because this is not how you run your shit, man. It's not how you do it. And it infuriates me that you have a fucking kid, in comparison, that has not been in this industry in a full-on sense telling you, this ain't how you run your shit, dude. This is unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this in management. Ever. And Kuzon, his idea that he thinks he was trying to turn this into a work. I saw the OSW review. I appreciate the fucking theory, and that's probably fair. And in this, he probably thought that as well. When it was something that fucking... When it was something this fresh, and it was something that could have altered the locker room harmony, you don't keep that shit from your locker room. You just don't do that. Like, I'm amazed that he just did that, thinking, oh, maybe I can get a good work out of this. And now nobody's fucking willing to work with each other. So much for that fucking work shoot. You gotta be fucking stupid. You gotta be out of your fucking mind. Like, I'm sorry. You don't fucking do something like that. When something that serious is even being discussed, you need to let your team know. This fucking carny-ass bullshit lives on in spades, and it has done nothing but hurt the fucking industry. There are certain times where you could turn shoots into fucking work, but in that instance, he should have fucking communicated a month prior to make sure everybody understood where everybody was. And I don't think he did. up until this moment. And it was fucking clear in that moment that he didn't say anything until then. Because he realized, oh shit, I just fucked up, and I just may have caused a lot more grief not saying anything than I initially anticipated. And it came back to bite him on the ass. That can't happen again. But it will. Because Tony isn't willing to learn from his fucking mistakes. So, I've already given up on that fucking hope. But anyway, let's continue.
Want nothing to do with him. Do not care where he works, where he doesn't work, where he eats, where he sleeps. And the fact that I have to get up here and do this in 2022 is fucking embarrassing. And if y'all are at fault, fuck you. If you're not, I apologize. But what did I ever do in this world to deserve an empty-headed fucking dumb fuck like Hangman Adam Page to go out on national television and fucking go into business for himself? For what? What did I do? Dave, what did I ever do?
So, right here, again, break this a little bit down. CM Punk is mentioning that Hangman Page shot on him on that Dynamite where they had that face-to-face right before Double or Nothing, I think, or a couple of weeks before AEW Double or Nothing, right? If you haven't watched the promo, go watch the promo back. I can't show it on here. Alright? Hangman Page went and said what he said and made lies or whatever in Punk's mind. This is where I blame both of them equally here. If Colt felt that strongly that his fucking friend was wronged, why didn't he go to Phil and clarify if he had anything to do with Scott Colton being removed from the Dark Order and being put on Ring of Honor? The counterpoint to that as well. Why didn't fucking Phil Brooks go to Adam and say, hey, do you have any fucking reason, or do you know why fucking Scott was gone? Because people are saying I had something to do with it, and I have fuck all to do with him. I know he's your friend and everything, but, like, I want to make it clear. I had nothing to do with it. That was a Tony decision. Or did Hangman get told that, and, you know, did he just basically throw his hands up in the air and say, I don't believe it? In which case, it's all Hangman's fault, because he didn't, he didn't vet it with Tony. Which, again, the communication here was all fucking over the place, which is why a lot of this shit happened the way it happened. It's why a lot of the fucking drama in AEW in recent fucking months has happened the way it happened. It's fucking gross. It's gross fucking negligence here from all parties involved. All it came down to was a simple ask. A simple question to somebody. And the story could have been clarified by Tony himself. Even if it was behind closed doors. It's all they would have had to do. He kept the shit from his fucking EVPs. He kept the shit from fucking CM Punk, who apparently had an office job. He kept the shit from Hangman Page and the Dark Order, who were one of his most over factions. What the fuck are you doing? And if you guys were really questioning it, why did you just assume it was fact and then just not fucking communicate? Has social media really fucking infected your brains that much that you don't know how to simply communicate with words anymore? You gotta fucking tweet your displeasure, and then you gotta fucking cut your fucking promo like you're on Twitter? That's what we fucking come to? Fuck me, man.
You feel me? Didn't do a goddamn thing. What's your name, sir?
Dominic D'Angelo.
Fuck the Pittsburgh Pirates. What are you doing?
I'm from Pittsburgh.
I made it really clear in Forbes, and I just want to make it clear again. Nick,
it's not his position to make it very fucking clear.
Why are you cutting off your boss? Like, even that's the fucking thing here, man. What in the fuck, man? You can clearly tell he's trying to defend him, too. Like, this is him trying to defend him. You're not doing a great job of it. Let him defend himself. Why are you trying to take the mantle and defend him? Man, was he not in the right fucking headspace here.
There's people who call themselves EVPs that should have fucking known better. This shit was none of their business. I understand sticking up for your fucking friends. I fucking get it. I stuck up for that guy more than anybody. Okay? I paid his bills until I didn't, and it was my decision not to.
Yeah, but I shouldn't have no commented when Nick first said it. It's my fault, and if I hadn't, it's my fault. It's my fault.
I appreciate that.
I should have just taken it head on because you never said
But I'm trying
anything.
to run a fucking business, and when somebody who hasn't done a damn...
There is the confirmation that I was talking about earlier, that he made the call and didn't fucking let anybody know.
Damn thing in this business jeopardizes the first $1 million house that this company has ever drawn off of my back and goes on national television and does that. It's a disgrace to this industry. It's a disgrace to this company. Now, we're far beyond apologies.
Oh, man, this fucking line.
Right? I gave him a fucking chance. It did not get handled, and you saw what I had to do, which is very regrettable, lowering myself to his fucking level. But that's where we're at right now. And I will still walk up and down this hallway and say, if you have a fucking problem with me, take it up with me. Let's fucking go. What's your question, Nick?
Oh, fuck me. Oh my god. I don't even know what to say here, man. Like, what else can I say that hasn't already been fucking said? And Tony's face, Jax is mentioning it in the fucking comments. I'm just gonna read all of Jax's comments here. But like, you know, keep in mind, Punk hasn't even had a shower. His adrenaline is still flowing and he's going in his body and his system. It's as if he's done 10 pints, which, again, from the OSW review, I get that reference. I think Punk is kind of a person to double down, make sure his beliefs are seen rather than doing what seems correct and fair. Yep. Note, Punk had a point immediately, had a spot planned here to interrupt with this guy Nick. Yeah, Nick Hausman. Basically wanted to use him as a whipping boy, pretty much. You blew my spot, he quoted. Punk said, I will cover the expenses. But WWE have very deep pockets, which is fair enough. But I think Punk had enough to fucking be able to cover it. Apparently, according to him, he was getting enough to cover it, actually. Now we know why he took those UFC fights, to be honest. Eddie's eating cupcakes, by the way. Yeah, he's eating cupcakes, which he promotes later on. I'm not even going to get into that. Actually, I might, depending on if I have anything more to add. Again, this is all his adrenaline not helping either. Like, he should have been allowed to take a shower and cool off. Yeah, I mean, that's another freaking thing. The way the press scrums are fucking... I'll get to that in a minute. I'll probably get to that after we complete all this. But the way Tony Khan runs his fucking press scrums is fucking laughable. It's awful. It's not great at all. I'll be honest with you. Like, it's pretty terrible. Japan and New Japan's, like, honestly, everything should just be in kayfabe. Because if everything wasn't kayfabe, none of this shit would have happened either. That's another bad call by Tony. But yeah. Let me see. By the way, Cole Cabana's brother is a director of Family Guy. And he also shares a bank account with his mom. Who's his brother? Because does that mean Seth MacFarlane isn't the man directing it, or is the sole director anymore? Because I did hear him say that. I didn't know if he was just chatting shit, though, and he was saying Seth MacFarlane was his brother, or for real is. I have no idea. But yeah, I think Tony is thinking he could turn this into a work. Yeah, I already read that. Oh, did they mention that? Oh, yeah, that's in reference to the OSW review. So Punk had planned this in his head to walk into the room when he analyzed the room to name the names and target and make an example out of certain reporters, which I'm gonna get to that in a fucking minute, man. What he needed to do was be allowed to cool off and calm down. Yeah, which it doubly goes to the fucking EVPs in this situation as well, by the way. You tell me, quoted. Oh, is that what Dave said? You tell me? That might have been what he said, honestly. Look at Tony's face. Yeah, Tony Khan. What's your question, Nick? I didn't know. Do you expect me to ask after that tirade? Yeah. Honestly, he shouldn't have even asked this fucking question. If I was Nick, I would have fucking been done. Greg Colton is an American animation director. Colton is most notably known for directing several episodes of Family Guy and Seth MacFarlane's cavalcade of cartoon comedy. Wow, okay. So he does that and American Dad and probably for a little bit the Cleveland Show then, I assume. Colton has also served as a writer and as a storyboard artist for Invader Zim, Mucha Lucha, and the Powerpuff Girls. Okay, so he's big in that field then. Shit. Okay. Fair enough. Got my sources from Family Guy Wikipedia, or Family Guy Wikia. There you go.
First of all, you're always very nice to me, and thank you.
Yeah, sure he was.
I wanted to ask you about MJF. Obviously, he played a voicemail from you before he came out.
I'm going to skip this.
Could be a big match down the line.
Sorry to keep bringing this fucking up, but I've never spoken his word in I don't know how long, so I'm a little fucking pissed off about it.
That's fine.
When it came down that he was going to sue me, I asked to talk to him. He refused.
Alright, yeah, this is...
I asked for mediation. It was denied. I offered him money. He said it was not enough. He went ahead with the lawsuit and sued. It's his fucking funeral. I don't care. He shares a bank account with his mother that tells you all you need to know about what kind of character that is.
You were always very nice to me, thank you.
I appreciate it, Nick. I'm sorry if I'm a little fucking snippy.
That's fine.
I'm hurt and I'm old and I'm fucking tired. And I work with fucking children.
I respect the situation.
I regret not answering your question.
And I only asked it because I have some familiarity and just wanted some clarification on the story.
Yeah, I should have just taken it head on like I did with Blake and Forbes recently.
We're all learning here, Tony. It's okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you, guys.
This is from Mindy's Bakery, by the way. It's a great place in Chicago if you like pastries and baked goods. I suggest you go there. They're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, though.
It's just unbelievable here. I don't even know what the fuck to say here. Again, there's the Mindy's Bakery comment. At least we got some laughs out of this.
Thank you.
I'll tell you why I'm upset about it. Is because
calling that a great ending, and I'm really glad people liked it. But the fact is, it was a great match and it was a great ending, and now we'll see what happens on Wednesday.
Is that going to headline Arthur Ashe, that match?
I'm not going to comment on it.
You go now.
Oh, thank you.
I'll tell you why I'm upset about it. Is because if you're an EVP, you don't try to middle your top babyface. Try to get your niche audience that's on the internet to hate him for some made-up bullshit rumor. Really pisses me off. Stepping on your own dick. Trying to fucking, make money, sell tickets, fill arenas. And these stupid guys think they're in Reseda.
Tom?
Yep, Dominic D'Angelo at freeshows.com. Punk, last time we were here last year, I asked you about Terry Funk and his influence, the legacy
I
going
think
on.
that was in reference to MJF getting cheered. Because, more so than Punk did in his own hometown. I think that's what that was in reference to. Could be wrong, but I think that was what that was in reference to. Somebody clarify if I'm getting it wrong, but I think that's what that's in reference to. They didn't, really. I mean, I'm sure you had your fucking people that had their fucking thoughts on it and whatever, but man, you know, looking at it now and looking at the situation, man, did Cody handle it the best when fans had criticisms for him in AEW and they were booing him left and fucking right, and he stuck to his fucking guns, and he also was just heartfelt. It's fucking crazy when you actually look back at that, man, but like, that's the fucking truth. And it's paid off for him, you know. People don't like him, or people didn't like him when he was in AEW, but the minute he left, now people fucking wish he was still there. I can't imagine any of this goes on when Cody's still there as an EVP. I can't imagine that's the case. Fans are going to have their criticisms. Reporters are going to have their criticisms. NFL has this. Fucking football has this in the UK. I'm sure Jack can confirm that as well. Fucking hockey has this. Basketball has this. Golf has this even. NASCAR has this. Stock car racing in general has this. MMA has this. Never in my life have I seen so many wrestlers, to Punk, to the Elite, to Kenny Omega, to Nyla Rose, to Chris Jericho, and just about everybody in that fucking locker room, and even probably some in WWE, just in general, be so fucking butthurt over what people say on the fucking internet. That blows my fucking mind. Why do you give a shit? Fucking, I saved this comment for later on, right? Jack fucking talks about Wardlow and cutting a fucking promo, saying people on the internet say I've lost a step. State of your promo, Big Bang of Indie Geek. I'm not upset, it's just quite funny. Funny in that, Wardlow, you're being laughed at here. Why are you fucking acknowledging us, dude? Why do you give a fuck what we think? And if you're really mad about your fucking position, wouldn't you talk to fucking Tony? Seriously, why wouldn't you just talk to Tony? Like, hey, can we get some structure to my TNT title reign that's been abysmal since I fucking won this goddamn thing? Thank you. Why are you taking it out on us? That's what I don't fucking understand here. Why are you taking the shit out on us? Man, it's fucking... It's shit like that. And I don't give a fuck if it was Tony who wrote it and fucking Wardlow just said it. Like, why are you even... Like, why do you even think this is a good story element? All it's doing is hurting your product when you mention the internet. It fucking hurt the product eventually in the end when fucking Hogan was doing that in WCW. Now, they were fucked regardless. Everybody's covered that ad nauseum. Anybody with a fucking brain has covered that anyway. But, like, fuck. You know, it didn't fucking help that, you know, your fucking goddamn top babyface at that time, regardless if people loved him or hated him, is saying, observe this, brother. It doesn't help anything. It makes your product look fucking cheap. And that's exactly how AEW comes across as when you have Wardlow going out there and saying shit like that. Fucking cheap. You had fucking Sammy Guevara, and I originally didn't understand the fucking problem when he said, where's my fucking 5 stars or whatever, and he's freaking out about that. And then after Wardlow's promo, I understood. Man, you guys come across as fucking geeks. You really do. Oh, now I know what this live is about. I was confused at the start. Yeah, Red Rose, if you're not a wrestling fan, which this is probably new for you, this will be my last wrestling video for a while, personally, for me. Other people are going to be covering it, and I'm just going to be head producer, which I'll get to that announcement at the end, but yeah. If you're new to this, stay out of the fucking bubble. You'll be better off for it, trust me. Watch some old shit, honestly. But yeah, you know, you also had, careful, careful you don't get shot on the way here. Bringing it back to kayfabe, which is very nice. Which, yes, it was a good way to bring back kayfabe by Punk. I will give him credit there, but still, the damage was already done. Very happy for Cody. Not to sound harsh, but it's American sports. Fans are a lot more louder and rowdier about that kind of stuff, which is fair enough. But my point being is, like, I've never seen there are a few people that fucking do it, right? And it looks dumb, alright, but ultimately it's a fucking competitive sport or whatever, and people are gonna tune in just for that alone, and that's the edge when it comes to shit like this. This is ultimately a predetermined sport. It's scripted, right? So ultimately, it shit don't matter. It shit shouldn't matter. You shouldn't be bringing in fucking petty bullshit like that, like every other fucking sport, because you're bringing in backstage drama and you're pulling the fucking curtain back, and it makes it look stupid. It makes it look dumb. Love also says, maybe TK, the Elite, CM Punk should scissor each other and make up because everybody loves the Acclaimed. Yeah. Well, they shouldn't make up. I don't know about scissoring, because that's not how that works, but good gimmick. But no. No. Oh, no, I already know. Okay, so you are somewhat of a wrestling fan. You're somewhat involved with this. Cool. What else we got here? There was a couple of things from Kuzon here. But UK fans do get butthurt, though. Chasing the opinions of fans who are on the internet is a fast way to plow your backing from fans, especially when you're the babyface. Yep. Unless you're the heel, you shouldn't be doing anything like that. And even when you're the heel, you gotta pick and choose your battles. Like, seriously, MJF could do a whole fucking crash course on that. Seriously. AEW has something very special, and they're really good at what they do. They can make magic when they are working together and making themselves look good. Yeah. And that's ultimately the saddest part about this. We're nowhere near that fucking point if everything that has been reported is to be believed. We're not even close to that point. We're on the far opposite fucking side of the spectrum at this point. And by the way, did I mention, you know, AEW's fucking Dynamite ratings? We just talked about that Wrestle Talk clip. I can't even believe I fucking didn't even mention this. Lowest ratings they've been in the last string of weeks. MJF at the fucking top. At the top, dude. This guy got fucked. Out of everybody here, Maxwell got fucked the most as far as him being a top draw. Bye, Red Rose. I don't blame you for dodging the fuck out of this. I'm fucking disgusted that you didn't even think to do anything good with this. You guys couldn't even put your fucking differences aside after everything was all said and done to make some goddamn money with this. Instead, you guys try to fucking sue each other, man. Man, and I even mentioned this on Open Mic Night, but I'll just mention it here, because I don't even know if I have the clip. If I have the clip, whatever, it will be played over again, but Chris Benoit and Kevin Sullivan legitimately had beef backstage. The man, Chris Benoit, stole Nancy Sullivan at the time from Kevin Sullivan. Alright? They didn't fucking stop working professionally together. In fact, Kevin Sullivan was still the booker and putting Chris Benoit in prominent fucking spots. He was putting him in the U.S. title division at one point. He was putting him in the Cruiserweight belt at one point. getting him television title opportunities. He was a part of the fucking Four Horsemen both times during the Monday Night Wars. Both iterations of it. He was one of the people who advocated for him to be the world champion. Part of that might be because they were trying to fucking re-sign him, but still, it begs to point out, he still advocated for him to be the world champion. If anybody had any fucking right to not be professional with somebody, it was Kevin Sullivan, and he still was professional with Chris Benoit at the end of the day. You look at fucking Matt Hardy and Edge, and the way Vince laid down the law with those two. And Vince literally told them, you either do this, or I will make sure you're blackballed and you will never work in this industry again. That shut them up quick. And they made a lot of money off that. They probably could have made more if they didn't drop the ball with the actual storyline. To be honest with you. That's just bad writing. But point is, they still work together professionally. Another fucking big thing about this as well, you know, how well did Shawn Michaels and fucking Bret Hart work out for their fucking careers? They both suffered ultimately, right? The industry went on, but that was because the industry didn't have social media back then. If Twitter was around when the Montreal Screwjob happened, WWF would be in the shitter. That's the difference between then and now. Right? But because there was none, the only people that suffered for being unprofessional with each other and not working with each other were ultimately Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. Everybody else benefited. That's not the case anymore. When you pull bullshit like what Punk and the Elite did, it really hurts your fucking product. And it shows, because the ratings don't fucking lie in this instance. They've already gone down. They're already off the 1 million mark. Because of this bullshit. And they're probably going to get less viewers over time, by the way. Be prepared for that. You know. They fucking shot themselves in the foot, ultimately, man. Like, that's what it is. You know. Anyway, I hope MJF benefits in the long term from this, but I'm not entirely sure he's not going to WWE. I think he does. I think he's gone. They already fucking shot him in the foot, and it wasn't even his fucking fault.
Kind of, and this is for you too, Tony. I kind of like you've done a great job with incorporating legends throughout, you know, the course of AEW and as it goes on.
I gotta talk about that.
I want to see what you feel about how a lot of the modern talent today can kind of utilize some of the advice and take advice from like guys like William Regal and even like Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone. I know I'm missing Jake Roberts, plenty I'm missing, I'm sure. But I just kind of want to get both your perspectives on that and how that can kind of go a little bit more to help you guys out grow as a company.
We have a locker room full of pretty brilliant minds. You know, Jerry Lynn, Dean Malenko, Mark Henry. You know, when I came back and I cut my promo my second week here, I thought it was pretty decent. You know what I mean? Kind of blur the lines a little bit. What's he doing? Oh, crazy Phil. He's going into business for himself. And really, I was just defending myself. But you know, you mix that in with attacking Moxley and mention, you know, Kingston being the second best Kingston, which is a pretty great line. You know, but our locker room, for all the wisdom and brilliance it has, isn't worth shit when you have an empty-headed idiot who's never done anything in the business do public interviews and say, no, I don't really take advice. Who the fuck do you think you are?
I have to bring this up because this is on the OSW review. You generalized this so badly, Phil. You fucked up royally here. Again, lack of communication, lack of fucking listening, lack of auditorial hearing. Hangman said, I'm a stubborn prick. I don't take advice that well. I know it's a problem, but it's just how I roll. I've always been, you know, trial and error type of guy, and I might hear you out, but that doesn't mean I'm going to take all the fucking advice. I'm going to go with the beat of my own drum. More often than not. That's just always how I've been. Probably a bad character trait. I understand that, but just how I'm built. That's what he said. Right? Saying he's an empty-headed idiot for that. For going to the beat of his own fucking drum. Right? That's fucking weird. And then, by the way, isn't that what you've done your entire career, Punk? Isn't that the entire branding of CM Punk? Isn't that the whole punk rock motto? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Oh, fucking... It's just laughable to me now. Like, you want to talk about hypocrisy. Like, this is the living definition. You are the biggest hypocrite in all of wrestling just for that one comment. That's how you done it your entire career. Now, granted, I'm sure and I bet you are a better listener and better at taking advice from old-time wrestlers. I've no doubt about that. You're very old school oriented. I've heard you talk about this, alright? I get that. That doesn't mean you've done everything by the old school way. Your WWE run epitomizes that. So what are you fucking talking about, bro? Your motto in WWE is what the fuck the motto is that Hangman Page and the Elite and everybody else at AEW are doing now. That have been there since day 1 and 2. Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, specifically, of the AEW roster. What do you mean? What do you even... I'd love to know your fucking, like, logic here when you literally have done the exact same thing on WWE television. That was your entire run, bro. You were done taking advice. You wanted to fucking do it for yourself. You did the DIY method. And by the way, another thing that's just completely false. Adam Page has done nothing in his business. He won a world championship. Regardless if his reign was great or not, which it wasn't, alright? I can admit that it wasn't what it could have been. Ultimately, bro, like, I would love to know how he has done nothing in his business if Tony saw him fit to be a world champion. Regardless if he was or not, you're publicly disparaging your own coworker by saying Adam Page has done shit in his business. When he has done shit in his business. It's not the level of your success. It's not the level of a lot of people, but it's still successful. Way to bury your fucking talent. What a way to bury your former world champion. As the world champion. That's just such a dumb comment, man.
You know? That's stupid. I'm on a team with Barry Bonds, Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa, and...
Oh, by the way, all these baseball players he fucking mentioned, by the way, were fucking a part of fucking scandals, and one of them was fucking outed by the MLB and would never be in the fucking MLB Hall of Fame because they took fucking steroids and took shortcuts. Yeah, man, really good examples there, but okay.
I don't need to work on my swing. I'm not going to listen to these guys. They're going to tell me how to swing a baseball. Fucking go fuck yourself. That's how I feel about it. I dare you to fucking say that to Terry Funk's face. I don't need to listen to you, Mr. Funk. I know what I'm doing. Fucking grow up.
That's not what he said, though. He's very respectful. I've heard a Hangman Page be nothing but respectful. And by the way, I find it funny that he says he doesn't take advice from anybody. When all this was happening, he was hanging out with FTR. Huh? He doesn't take advice. I'm pretty sure he took some advice. Like, he's hanging out with FTR. Clearly he wants some fucking knowledge, or maybe he just wants to have fun. I don't fucking know. But you can't tell me he's not listening. He's hanging out with the fucking best tag team in the world. But, okay. By the way, you're friends with the fucking best tag team in the world, so that's pretty ironic. Or at least you're really good acquaintances with the best tag team in the world. Yeah, and FTR aren't exactly thick-skinned either. Yeah, fuck me, Dax. What are you doing, man? Yeah, like, you're living by a great motto by your daughter, except for when it's on fucking Twitter. Sorry if that comes across as fucking harsh, but again, truth has a habit of being that way sometimes, bro. But why are you fucking worried about, again, and that goes to all you fucking wrestlers, why are you worried about what fucking fans think? Seriously, take it up with your fucking boss. Take it up with the fucking EVPs and fucking work your shit out behind closed doors. Not out in the open like this, dude. Not on fucking Twitter, not on YouTube like this.
Question over here. Question for Punk.
I'm sorry, speak up. What?
So we can't hear you.
Sorry. Question for CM Punk, Phil Lindsay from Bleach Report. I think it caught a lot of people by surprise your loss 2 weeks ago, and your foot injury came into play. And
I'm more worried about his health now than worried about if he really wanted to have this great summer and do good for Tony. And
alright, so that's him talking about his injury that he caused on himself because he didn't fucking take it. Oh, by the way, talk about not taking advice. Fucking security tells him not to jump the guardrail. He did it anyway. Talk about hypocrisy, Phil. Again, like, Jesus Christ. I gotta fucking get through these ads. I refuse to get ad blocker on my thing just so that way people can get their cash.
help with ratings. And it all just came crashing down, but that's life, you know. I missed out on Forbidden Door and United Center.
This out would be to point out the fact that your win tonight brought to an end the fairly legendary run for John Moxley.
Name two people that have made the most money off the name CM Punk.
Yeah, I gotta go back here.
Thank you very much, CM Punk.
Thank you. Alvarez, you saw that video, man, and you were so incredulous that I went into business for myself, and I was just like,
No,
man.
I made sure to say that some people were upset that you had done that, and other people said that you were defending yourself, which is what you said, that you were defending yourself.
And the reason I've never defended myself is because when you do, it just sounds like you're being defensive. But I've eaten shit on this subject for a very, very long time. I'm very sad today that I had to get up here and say his name. He doesn't fucking deserve it, and talk about it. But facts are facts, you know. Name two people that have made the most money off the name CM Punk. I don't think you're there yet. The first one's Vince McMahon. The second one's Scott Colton. I hope you all have a good night. Please be more responsible with the news you get from certain people, and just remember we're human beings. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't shock me any less. It really doesn't. Ultimately, this was fucking embarrassing. I'm not saying he didn't have legitimate gripes, and he had every fucking way that he could have aired them out if he really felt the need that he needed to air them out. Alright? But again, this was not the time or the fucking place. It really wasn't, man. Like, he would have probably gotten better off doing it on fucking Twitter, but then again, I think of the fucking Sammy and Andrade bullshit, which I don't even know if it's a fucking work or a shoot anymore, but if that is a shoot, then probably not a good idea with Punk's state of mind and the Elite being idiots. So again, for those living under a rock, after this press scrum, the Elite came down. They apparently kicked the door down after knocking 3 times. And basically fucking caused some bullshit and fucking because they booted the door down, I guess Punk threw the first punch to Matt Jackson. Ace Steel threw a chair at Nick Jackson. Gave him a black eye, and then he was biting Kenny Omega after he was saving Larry, who is Punk's dog, and, you know, trying to work with fucking Ace Steel's wife, ironically enough, and Ace Steel was just fucking biting her like a fucking ravenous dog himself. That's basically what happened. That's what's being reported. So, this is where I fucking go after the Young Bucks and the Elite. Because I've been roasting Punk a lot on this, and shitting on Punk a lot on this. But here's where I give Omega shit and the Young Bucks shit. Number one, if what Punk said is to be believed, they fucking went and fucking spread this false information, whether they knew it was false or not, thinking that Punk had something to do with Scott Colton not being on AEW roster anymore, not being on AEW television anymore, and not a part of the Dark Order anymore. Alright? They assumed that was their mistake there, number one. Them and Adam Page all take the fucking blame on that. I don't care what the fuck you want to tell me. They deserve that fucking much. And honest to God, that alone should have stripped them from EVP status. But then, point number two. How the fuck are you going to barge into somebody's locker room as executive vice presidents after a man just injured himself, right, during the match? He's bloodied. His adrenaline pumping through him. He just got done ranting on a fucking press scrum. Why on God's green earth would you have gone in there in any capacity to try and resolve the issue in that fucking moment in time? Never mind kicking the fucking door down like idiots. Now, apparently it was the Young Bucks that kicked the fucking door down because they were pissed, and Omega was the fucking standard by, so I'll take that, at least for now, and say Omega, it's not on him, but it absolutely is on the Bucks. And I'm sure Kenny didn't fucking help, and they were all probably talking, and they all probably wanted to fucking get involved in that bullshit. And it was so bad that authorities were fucking called. Right? And everybody involved in the fucking melee was fucking suspended. They were suspended. Which sucked. Because guess what? Their video game, they were going to promote it in one of the biggest conventions in the world in Japan. Kenny couldn't even go. So that just fucking hurt their business big time. What the fuck were you thinking with that much on the goddamn line, guys? Seriously. This really should have been thought out thoroughly. You should have given him a fucking day or something to cool off. I don't understand. And even then, like, I wouldn't even have Omega do it. I wouldn't have just left it alone and then just fucking talked to him the next day. Or talked to him a couple days after. Or talked to him on the day of the next Dynamite. Let him fucking cool off. Like, accountability needs to be taken on all parties involved here. Punk, the Elite, Young Bucks, Tony Khan, who, honest to God, did it way too fucking late. The person getting fucked out of all of this, currently at least, is MJF. Because this has completely derailed his star power. It's completely derailed his momentum on being the top guy drawing the ratings now. Because everybody's just sick of it. Everybody's just over it at this point. They don't want the fucking backstage drama. And I'll get to why that is in a minute. You know. I'm going to play fucking a podcast that I never thought I'd fucking play in the beginning. And I never thought I'd take this guy's opinion at face value. But Glenn Gilberti, Disco Inferno, was one of the few people that were level-headed about this fucking situation. Him and Booker, which a lot of the IWC crap on them for. I have no idea why, but fans are fans, whatever, you know. Fucking Disco Inferno, for those who don't know who Glengo Birdie means, fucking was one of the most level-headed fucking people in this situation. I'm actually going to play his podcast now with Conan. All credit to Keeping It 100 Official. Go check this podcast out when you can. But I'm going to play this part. I'll play a couple of parts of this podcast because these guys hit the nail on the fucking head, man. They do. They do. Oh, shoot. Hold on. I apparently, for some reason, my... Huh. What the hell? Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't have my fucking audio capture on. That was my bad. I just, copy that over. My bad, people. It's live. What can you do? Alright, let's do paste. There we go. Alright, now we're good.
Say on the whole affair. And how would we're back with K100 Talks. Everybody's talking about the Punk media scrum, and so Disco started off. What do you got to say on the whole affair? And how would you handle this if you would have been, if Tony Khan wouldn't have been sitting where he was sitting and you were sitting, what would you have done?
It's kind of like a lot of basic general questions that need categorically to be wrapped around before we get to, like, you know, what I would have done.
All right, yeah,
so
you can end it up with that.
Right. So when that was going, like, one of the things that the critics of AEW have said from day one, and these are fair criticism, okay? They're not hating, they weren't like you said, but, like, you know, we said, and a lot of people said, you know, Bischoff, Cornette, just people that have been in the business for years, right, have said from the get-go, it's like, okay, you got a guy, you know, that basically has bought his way into the wrestling business, and, like, this is like, let's call a spade here, is AEW the genesis of the company. You know, Tony was a wrestling, huge wrestling mark fan, and I'm not criticizing that, big fan. Smart Mark, on the Wrestling Observer message boards.
Yeah.
So, you know, this guy comes from
another thing, DI, real quick, because I've talked to some people and had this confirmed. They had, and I've said this before, there's wrestling booker games, right, where you book the cards and you run the matches and they get star ratings and like that, like just exactly what you'd expect. And Tony was an avid player of said games, so that's where he gets his
stuff like that, basically.
Right.
Well, and let me add this, because I said it once on the show, but it's worth repeating, and maybe somebody missed that show. He actually showed, I don't know if he was showing Rocky Romero, if he was showing me, because we were both there together. He was showing me stuff that he was booking when he was like 12 years old.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the show, I think his promotion was called Dynamite.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's just talk about like this. So that's the kind of the genesis of where we are here, because like you got a guy, and like an anomaly in that atmosphere is like, you know, if you look at the dirt sheet, you know, wrestling smart mark community, I would suggest it's probably not filled with a lot of billionaires. Could we agree on that?
For sure.
Probably more like on the opposite end of the spectrum, right? So this guy's got, you know, a lot of the interests that your typical basic wrestling fan guy growing up. You know, he likes football, he likes sports, he likes, you know, the guy's, you know, part ownership team of a football team, part ownership of an English Premier Soccer League team. You know, like we've said this before, like me, Conan, like we would all agree, if we had that kind of money, he's doing a lot of the things that we probably would do if we could afford it.
Mm-hmm.
I would buy a wrestling organization. I would buy a football team. I would probably buy, not just English, I'd probably buy a hockey team. If I had the exorbitant resources to purchase those and had they're my toys. But this guy's worth like, you know, him and his dad are worth like, what, like $12, $15 billion, like ridiculous, right? So how would you spend your money? You know, your day-to-day life is like, you know, I can eat $150 worth of food a day. I could also eat $1,000 worth of food a day, but the $150 of food would probably taste the same as $1,000, right? You can eat good food at like $20 a day because it fulfills your needs, right?
Yeah,
so
that's
this guy
true
got
story.
into professional wrestling business, bought his way in with other than the message boards and fantasy booking and stuff, with zero experience in this business whatsoever, right? And me and Conan have been in the bit. We're trained professionals that have been, broke in, trained, got beat up a little bit through the course of training to try to make to get you like toughen you up, or can you really be like it wasn't super easy to get into professional wrestling, right? As a matter of fact, you couldn't just buy your way in like as a wrestler. You just pay. It's like you couldn't pay more for them to put you on TV. It's like, okay, I'm paying to train. If I don't perform in the training, I can't get on TV, right? So,
yeah.
But this guy kind of like bypassed all that, right? But,
which, by the way, I think is part of the fucking problem. It is that easy to get into the fucking industry now. If I wanted to start training, I could be in the fucking business within 2 years. I could be. That might be, honest to God, part of the problem.
But he's a guy. This is like this is from the Dave Meltzer, the Observer, the Smart Mark Wrestling community. So I don't know who he was consulting with, but we spoke about this, previously. Like as performers, as people and performers, well, I would have nothing against the Young Bucks or Kenny Omega, right? And I think you would agree with that too, Cody. Correct? Like you'd have
right.
Very professional. However, it's like you bought a wrestling organization and you hired these guys in the positions of executive vice presidents. So it's like you four are running the show, and you had Cody Rhodes too. Cody had experience, okay? Cody's from the tree of his father, promotion, just like like he was the adult in the room, the guy with not personal experience, but his father had experience in running wrestling companies, okay, booking, dealing with talents, and everything. But the other performers didn't, right? But even with Cody in the room, we said from the get-go, okay, these guys are going to make some errors, and we have to understand that this is ripe. Like this business model that they're operating under, where you have a guy that bought his way to wrestling with zero experience, zero dues, paid nothing, right? And you took basically just performers who were high-level performers. I'm not even going to argue they're high-level performers, but the level of that community. Like they got all the awards, like every year. The Bucks are the best tag team. Kenny's the best wrestler. These are the guys from the Dave Meltzer wrestling community of okay, they're the highest performers. But you're putting them in executive vice president position spots. So, I don't know.
Let me just say that even whether they come from.
So, we could have an argument that.
We can.
Okay.
So, it was basically complimenting the Young Bucks. I just skipped over that.
Now what you have is okay, when situations arise where there's problems. Okay, now they've had problems like this company's going on 3 years now next month. Like I think we're 4 weeks away from the 3-year anniversary of their first show. And so they've been around a bit here. Okay? Their first show they did 1.4 million viewers, and they've never reached that number yet since then. So they had a large
incorrect on this point. They did reach 1.7 million on Rampage, not on Dynamite, but on Rampage, and they have gotten close to that 1.2, 1.3, but basically for a lot of the wrong reasons. But they did reach that number nonetheless.
Audience, contributing to viewing their content from the get-go, right? But they haven't capitalized on that.
This is going by Nielsen, by the way.
Leveled out right around above or below 1 million viewers. Okay, but when problems have arisen, where you have problems with talent, you have problems with talent. Basically, you're bringing in guys from WWE, and bro, they were hiring everybody, and supposedly, we don't know this for a fact.
Okay, let me add a little context to this, because this is where I think people don't understand what being an EVP or even being in a booking meeting. So when you get into the wrestling business, all you're thinking about is what can I do to get a push. So you're thinking about your gear, you're thinking about your body, you're thinking about moves, you're thinking about catchphrases, you're thinking about all the political stupid games you have to play when you're in wrestling, because that's all it is. There's a lot of games that are unnecessary. Am I wrong so far?
Exhibit huge number B as to why I'm done with this shit. Exhibit C is really the elite punk drama.
Let's go. Okay, so now you've gone from this person who has no idea, who you're wondering as a wrestler, who gets pushed, why do they get pushed, why am I getting pushed, to now you're in that position. Now you've got to figure out, do I push a guy that even though he's very talented, he's always late, He's hard to deal with. When you want to put him with other wrestlers, it's like pulling teeth. Or do I want to go with this wrestler who may not be as talented, but anything you tell him to do, he's going to do. And other wrestlers don't understand that, am I going to use this wrestler who right now I'm negotiating with, but he may leave in 3 or 4 months because he still hasn't signed his contract because he's not sure if he's ready to sign or not. Do I keep pushing him because I think I'm going to sign him, or do I got to stop him because if I keep pushing him, he may show up the next day on my,
I made it more marketable for their show.
Right.
It's like the Malachi Black with WWE thing, where they gave him all the vignettes, and then he just left and went to WWE off their vignettes and went to AEW.
You're in the middle. You're in the middle of a good program with somebody, and one of the two guys is showing up drunk for work. So now, do you stop this program and don't tell the people because you don't want to embarrass the guy, and you got to stop this program midstream that was going to get hot and make you some money, and the people are wondering what the happened there? Or do you talk to the guy and continue and hope he gets better? There's so many. There's guys, as we see, there's guys that don't like each other,
Right.
And so you've got all these things that a normal wrestling fan, well, why aren't they pushing this guy? Why aren't they pushing this guy? Those are some of the reasons that you don't know. You will never know.
Right.
That's why when you try to come on here or these places that try to like the experts, you don't know. And I don't give a somebody from the inside is talking to you. There's still like an inner circle of information that only 2 or 3 or 4 people are privy to, that not even that person who's giving you the information knows, unless they're one of the 3 or 4 people in that circle.
Tell that to Dave Meltzer. Tell that to every other goddamn dirt sheet site. We should be a lot more fucking vocal about it, Conan. Just saying, man, because that they completely disregard that in favor of their own narrative. Holy shit, is that ever prevalent? Exhibit D as to why I'm fucking done covering modern wrestling.
Right. So AEW's had some, issues.
After this podcast,
we're not going to get into all of it, but just a perfect example. Like when you talked about, when I just thought about this, when you talk about a guy shows up drunk and he's like, bro, like John Moxley was one of their top performers, like on top of it, and all of a sudden he showed up.
Oh yeah. Okay, so it talks about this. Alright, yeah, it goes to the John Moxley thing, and then it goes into the fucking press scrum that we already played. This is their aftermath of talking about it.
So, and this has been from Meltzer's confirmed this in other spots, but this is from Fightful.
And I already covered
and it
that.
says, after CM Punk's AEW...
Tony hiring those guys to help run the show, that they have no experience, we're seeing that to come fruition. CM Punk being a locker room cancer, we're seeing that come to fruition. We're seeing, bro, because, let me tell you something. What Punk just did right there, dude, if you're AEW, you want people to come work for you, you want to recruit talent, you want to recruit big stars, you want to, bro, he's basically telling everybody, why would you come and work here? Horrible on his part. Bro, all of this stuff should not have been brought to light like this. If he had a problem with the EVPs, it should have been done behind closed doors, with Tony, aired out behind the scenes. He took it public. If he had a problem with Adam Page, behind closed doors, with Tony, everybody, let's just air this out, let's get it done. He decided to go in front of the world, basically because he had because the dirt sheet guys were that's the gist of it, bro. It's like the dirt sheets antagonized him to the point that he had them all in a room together and could just not help it. I'm going to get my back on these guys at the expense of the company I work for.
Yep.
Bro, you got to send, if you're Tony Khan, you have to send the guy home. Like the presidents have been sending, you have to send him home. You have to, and then this is my thing, okay? Every once in a while, a golden opportunity comes up in professional wrestling to change the game, to do stuff differently and everything. And I would just tell Tony Khan, I don't know who you're consulting with, right? But your EVPs right now and Kenny and everything, they're in the middle of this. Whoever you've been consulting, if you talk to Dave and stuff, everything, he's in the middle of this. Because he's the one that basically green-lighted, hey, you should hire these guys to help you run the show and stuff. He's in the middle of this. Bro, you need to get outside the box and get advice from other people. And one of the, I'm not even stroking his chain or anything here, but one of the first people you should talk to about how to handle a situation like this is from somebody that's been on both sides of the spectrum when dealing with stuff like this is Conan. Because Conan buried the company publicly when he worked at WCW, talked to USA Today, and Conan, what did Eric do? How did Eric handle when you buried the company publicly? What did he do?
He suspended me.
He suspended you. And was it fair?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of right. It's fair because you publicly buried the company, right?
Right.
Another person he should talk to, or just solicit advice, bro. If you get a creative urge and you're the number 2 company right now, you're in the same position that WWE was with WCW back when Brett and Shawn had their thing, and Brett spit in Vince's face. Vince Russo told me when he went back in the booking meeting when after that happened, Cornette, Bruce, all these guys, bro, they just wanted to swipe it under the rug. They wanted and Vince is saying, wait a second, this is all everybody's talking about. Let's turn this into business.
Yeah.
I would call it, bro, if you want to figure if it's this is an opportunity to possibly create, because bro, there's going to be a lot of buzz on Wednesday night. The one thing Punk did is create interest for the show.
Yeah.
How you handle this could create interest for future shows and get you guys numbers. I would call Vince Russo and say, dude, how did that work? How did you guys how did you guys work your way out of that to create this business? I'm not saying make Tony Khan a Vince McMahon character, but take a real shoot situation and try to make
but
bro, that would be my take.
They spun that situation off. Owen came back and wrestled Shawn. They spun it into Austin versus McMahon. Of course, how do you spin this in a situation where these guys probably don't want to work together? Punk's already said about Paige.
Bro, you're all under contract.
Yeah.
You can work. Everybody knows how to work. That's the whole thing. Everybody knows how to work. They don't have to fight. Okay, maybe they want to fight, but when you step in that ring, there's people that bro, this has happened throughout wrestling history.
Yeah,
guys
Edge,
don't like each
Edge
other.
and Matt Hardy.
You work.
You
right. You go and work.
Bro,
what's your take? I want to hear you.
Yeah.
I'll tell Conan's take after this, but this happened a month ago. This is fresh off the heels of this. What Disco said. You have the opportunity to make money with this if you could get past your bullshit and work in that ring and sell some fucking tickets. And people thought I was fucking crazy when I said Disco Inferno was the voice of reason here. Now you know I wasn't lying. Before any OSW review and V1 said it, Disco was the fucking first to fucking say it over everybody else. He was the only fucking person with a level head enough to say, you know what, this is fucking golden opportunity, let's make some goddamn money with this. Conan would go on to say, fuck you, you're doing this shit on my time, on my dime, now we're gonna do what I want to do with this on my time and my dime. You guys are gonna fucking work or are gonna keep you home without fucking pay. Which is what Tony should have fucking done. And then we're done. You know, you could sit out the rest of your fucking contract and I'll pay you significantly less than if you were to come fucking work on television, basically. Now, would Punk have done that at that point? I don't know, but I would have fucking had them all in a fucking room, and that's exactly what I would have fucking done. I would have put all on blast, including Scott Colton. Get over your bullshit, make some fucking money with this. You guys aren't fucking toddlers here, you're fucking grown adult men. Act like it. Otherwise, you could sit on your fucking ass at home in Chicago, or in fucking Panama City, or wherever you fucking stationed at. Ranch Cucamonga. And I'll fucking pay your ass while you sit on your hands and knees. Wondering what the fuck went wrong. That's what I would have done. And that's what fucking Conan said he would have did. After fucking Glenn said this, he went on to talk about how him and Vampiro have legitimate heat. I'm sure this story has been told numerous fucking times before. Alright? Conan and Vampiro worked a show in AAA, I think it was recently. Because he had a fucking MAGA hat to be a heel. Fucking Conan did. Now, fuck that. I don't care. That's fucking stupid. But he was doing it to be a bad guy, basically. In the context of wrestling. He was there in AAA. He was eliminating everybody. He was getting booed out of the fucking building by this point. Everybody wanted Conan eliminated. And Mexico takes their shit fucking seriously, right? And he's got the manga hat on to boot, right? So, who else is to come out to the biggest fucking pop of the night in that show? I think it was a Triple Mania. Than fucking Vampiro. Biggest fucking pop of the night. Biggest pop of the fucking night on this, man. And Vampiro comes out after having heat with fucking Conan for years, and Conan lets him eliminate him. And then they would go on to have their fucking feud and conclude it. Vampiro won. And they drew a fucking shit ton of seats in Mexico. That's how you do business. Seriously. You have such a golden opportunity here. I don't think people understand this. Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page, you already got their kayfabe story, right? You got CM Punk and MJF. You got their kayfabe story mixed in with slight reality. You got Hangman Page and CM Punk, which is full-on reality. You got CM Punk and Kenny Omega. Full-on fucking reality. Who's left that you have to build on TV? MJF and Kenny Omega. That takes like, what, 6 weeks? And you're set for a fucking money fatal 4-way. You're set for 2 fucking singles matches for the world title. One on TV, one on pay-per-view, and then you had the fucking blow-off at Double or Nothing next year. And everybody involved was so nearsighted and decided to say, fuck that, I don't want to work with these motherfuckers. You all dropped the fucking ball big time. Tony, you dropped the ball for not communicating. Punk, you dropped the ball for going out the way you did and fucking expressing what you felt publicly. And Young Bucks and Kenny, you were at fault for spreading false information that you had no fucking idea about, and also kicking the locker room of a heated CM Punk down for no fucking reason other than to fucking give him shit. As fucking EVPs, by the way, you're busting down a top star's fucking door. You should lose that immediately, that EVP status. You're all the fucking blame here. There's no good guy in this scenario. The only person that was right about this situation, if you really want to go back to this far, was MJF. And he's ultimately suffering the most, at least currently. He should be generating the biggest ratings, and he won't now because of this bullshit. And they already waited way too late to fucking capitalize on it, but maybe I could be proven wrong, and they could try to start putting the motions in fucking full gear and everybody's back, but I highly fucking doubt it. Yeah, good on MJF for not spreading any info, by the way. And by the way, Rose, I did see your comment. Definitely looking forward to seeing that. Make sure you DM me on Twitter. I'll link you my Twitter. Basically the same as my YouTube name, JHebert Side 95. But yeah, I don't believe in rumors. I love Max. Max, the only smart motherfucker in the business, man. It was to the point where fucking I don't even know if anybody saw the fucking interview with Ariel Helwani, but that he had with Tony Khan. But look at the interview that Ariel Helwani has with MJF, and look at the fucking interview he has with Tony Khan, and that's night and day. Man, Tony looks like a fucking idiot. Tony looks like an absolute moron. Like, why did you even take the fucking interview? Why did you take that interview? You didn't have to take that interview. You knew he was going to ask these questions. And by the way, Ariel Helwani is a known snake in the MMA community. Has been a snake for years. Right? It should have been a fucking no-brainer not to take this interview, and you took it anyway. Man, that was embarrassing too, man. There's so many fucking parties involved with this. Like, and again, listen, I can blame the dirt sheets all day long, but reporters are going to report whatever the fuck they want to report. Don't fucking acknowledge it on the air. That's my main fucking gripe with all of this. Don't acknowledge the shit on the fucking air. doesn't help anybody when you acknowledge this shit on the air. And then, like, because the people that are tuning into wrestling nowadays are trying to escape the reality of fucking life right now, which isn't exactly great, alright? And wrestling is fictitious by nature, alright? It is a fictional fucking storytelling machine that happens to take real athleticism and real sport and combine it into a scripted nature, alright? That's what wrestling is by nature. But it's fiction, right? People tune in to watch shit. To watch this shit especially. Alright? And not fucking... They don't want the fucking drama. Unless it's on television and it was meant to be on screen in the first place. If it wasn't meant to be on screen, you don't fucking bring it up. You got fucking Wardlow now fucking talking about how some people on the internet fucking driving more people away. You see the fucking ratings going down? No, it's chasing people off. You're seeing it in real time. I'm one of these fucking people. I haven't watched AEW Dynamite since Grand Slam on this fucking channel. And I won't be again until Full Gear. You will not catch me dead unless it's on open mic night covering the shit. Because everybody's fucking just bringing the reality into what's supposed to be fiction. Like, could you fucking imagine if fucking people... Like, I understand wrestling, you can do it. And I just mentioned, and everybody's going to be like, well, you sound like a hypocrite because you said they could have made money with the four-way you just pitched. Yes, they can. That's about the only fucking thing they can make money with. All this other fucking drama, Sammy Guevara and fucking Kingston, who's buying that? Realistically, who's buying that? I like those guys, but who's actually buying that? Sammy and Andrade, who's buying that? Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, genuinely, who the fuck's buying that? Right? Nobody. Not a fucking soul is gonna buy that is just into the main event shit. Right? They tune in for the main event and they stay for the undercard. That's how wrestling has been for years. And it ain't gonna change anytime soon. If it's the same in boxing and it's mostly the same in MMA, the same applies to wrestling. They come for the main event, they stay for the undercard. You are setting a fucking precedent by not fucking making these guys work through their issues and making some money. That this is okay. That you could just vote people off the fucking island and cause shit backstage and fucking cause more fucking drama. Further adding to that by having people like Wardlow going out and mentioning the fucking internet like it's some fucking big story plot. And addressing his critics. Which, by the way, in no other sport would you fucking hear any of that. No other. And very rarely do you hear that in MMA, believe it or not. Like, most fucking people, like, if you're talking about, like, MMA interviews, they talk about the Randy Couture title win, his final world title win. They talk about fucking Brock Lesnar's interview where he's fucking his wife. They talk about fucking Derek Lewis. His balls is hot. They talk about any Conor McGregor interview ever. Like, the one thing that I can honest to God think of, and even with Joe Rogan, like, off the top of my head, is his beef with fucking, what's his face? What's the idiot's name that gets every fucking sport fact wrong, and everybody doesn't like him on SportsCenter? I can't even remember his name, that's how irrelevant he is. But whoever the black dude is, I forget his name. Let me know in the comments. Speaking of which, I don't even watch any wrestling live, to be honest. I just do it when I'm hanging out with the boys, which, by the way, we should arrange another watch party. Yeah, I agree. Probably Winter is Coming is going to be the next one. Hey James, I wanted to tell you this prior, but Meltzer revealed the Elite weren't the ones spreading the rumors and confessed he could have prevented all this prior to All Out if he called Punk Tony. So what? Dave is saying that he wanted to fucking. What is Dave saying that he could have stopped this? Is what you're telling me? Or is that, like, again, because that could mean two things. He's either saying that because he actually means it and he feels bad, or he's saying that to cover his fucking ass at this point. Which Dave has been known to do on many fucking occasions. So, I need to know which is which on that front, because otherwise I don't buy it. That's cool, but he shouldn't take Meltzer, but it shouldn't take Meltzer doing that. He's not an employee. Yeah, okay, so it was Meltzer. Yeah, I agree with Jack here. And even then, it's like, yeah, he may have spread the fucking false information or whatever the fuck, but I don't fully buy that the Young Bucks and him don't talk. They've mentioned they talk all the time. So I highly fucking doubt that they didn't fucking come to him with this. Like, I want fucking receipts in that case. Which I know I'll never fucking get. But, like, I could take it or leave it on that one, to be honest with you. I could not buy it. I could buy it. Honestly, I don't care. Because Dave should have fucking made sure he got all of his sources right in the first place and called fucking Punk himself. Punk is right on that fucking front. He should have just called Punk and he could have fucking dispelled that immediately. But, you know, fair enough, whatever. Oh, I know, I'm just adding the context. I know it ain't his responsibility since he's not an employee. Well, like, yes, but that's not his job. Yeah, well, his job is fucking reporting news properly, and he hasn't been doing that well in God knows how long. Giving fucking actual journalists a bad name, to be honest with you. And that is his fucking job, Jack. Like, that is his job. And you know, he should be fucking taking some responsibility for it. Last part on this Conan CM Punk podcast, or mainly on Disco Inferno's thing, but I think this is mainly... Oh, wait, no. I already played that, right? I don't even need to play that anymore. I explained everything else. But, yeah. JBL headphones. Let's go and get to my rant from Open Mic Night. This is from the Jeff Meacham Network, also from the Casa D18 Studios. This is me ranting about, speaking of which, you know, elephant in the room, we just mentioned Meltzer. This is me ranting on dirt sheets, pretty much, and how we just have not fucking learned.
Interesting. So I will throw up the first graphic, James, and you can just kind of take it from here.
Alright, cool. Let me see. So, there was an article. I saw this article.
Of course.
So, I saw this thing, and I'm just like... It says, Ric Flair says he will never retire. Talk about some clickbait, right? Okay. What is this actually? How much... I originally thought, oh no, my fears have been realized. Ric Flair has gone against his word yet again, was immediately what I freaking thought. Then I go on to the actual article, and it turns out that this article from a source that I will not name because they don't deserve the fucking privilege, okay, they don't, basically was just covering the WrestleMania 24 match that he had with Shawn Michaels, and then the last paragraph mentions his recent retirement and how he's joking, like Jeff and everybody else covered, that how he was joking about coming out of retirement because of the Puerto Rico people, whatever. You know, saying, hey, why can't you retire? Yeah, by the way, I want to make that very clear. That whole fucking thing was Conrad and Rick joking that that's what he was actually going to do. But he wasn't actually serious on following through with it. But because they put it in fucking writing, everybody fucking took that completely out of context and didn't even bother watching Conrad's podcast there. So, I just want to fucking clear the air. I watched it. They were fucking joking the whole time. That doesn't mean Flair won't eventually do it, because he has masked that he's been serious by joking about shit before. But As of right now, it was them joking around until Flair proves us wrong otherwise by his own accord. Otherwise, I'm not taking that seriously at all. But yeah, this fucking is basically this fucking article was 95% the fucking WrestleMania 24 match, which was so clickbaity as fuck. Time in Puerto Rico, yada yada. So it was basically bullshit. You would have thought after what happened at All Out, that would have been a fucking wake-up call to stop posting bullshit articles everywhere you can just to get a few clicks. You would have thought you'd learned by now. But I guess not. I guess we're going to just keep making the same mistake over and over and over again and keep pissing people off, making people throw their hands up in the air, and either do one of two things. Basically find a way to just deal with the toxicity and still enjoy the product, like Noah, or basically be like me and just throw your hands up in the air and say, fuck it! Fuck it! Why do we have to make these fucking stories up just to get clicks? It boggles it honestly has driven me like it's been in the back of my head and it's been a nail in my craw for the last 2.5 weeks. I don't understand how after what happened, we're still making the same fucking mistakes over and over and over and over again. Nobody's doing their due diligence. And say what you want to freaking say about what Punk said, but there was one thing that he absolutely was right on in his freaking rant. Be responsible with your freaking resources. Remember, we're all human beings.
And all that leads to the second image.
Jesus. So then, we've been seeing these articles, this is a well-known thing, about all these damn releases, or quote-unquote releases, that wrestlers are trying to get from AEW. 90% of that is also bullshit, and it's already been, again, made by Tony Khan himself. Yep, exactly. Thank you for the clicks. Absolutely clickbait. The fact, and this probably infuriates me more than anything else, because at this point now, we're talking about a man who legitimately went home. Yeah, he just found to deal with for the record, before I play the rest of this, Jack, he just found a JPEG and just threw it up there. That wasn't really his graphic, in fairness.
Who legitimately went home to deal with mental problems. Anybody that's known me for any period of time on my channel knows I don't take this shit lightly. The fact that Malachi Black, the person behind the character, had to come out on social media and dispel these fucking rumors because Uncle Dave wanted to get his damn clicks in for his freaking website is fucking disgusting. I want that to be known. It is disgusting that he even had to come out and do that shit. When he was trying to stay off social media and get his mind right before coming back to the company he is contracted to for a long period of time.
For those who don't know, this was confirmed by a video by Malachi Black himself, dispelling these rumors, saying he has no intentions of leaving AEW or trying to get out of his contract. He is contractually obligated. He's going to make those commitments. His words, not mine. The fact that this shit was even fucking reported after he literally said online, hey, I'm taking a sabbatical because I'm dealing with a mental crisis in my own fucking head right now, is laughable to me that we have even gotten to this point where everybody was speculating, including the Observer, including people, some friends of ours, not all, but some, speculating that they were trying to fucking leave. It's gross. It's absolutely disgusting, dude. Like, I can't begin to tell you, like, again,
between the whole thing with Flair, that's one thing. But then to, like, lie about a lot of these other things, like, and Buddy Murphy apparently did the same thing, too. He had to come out and dispel those freaking rumors after what happened. Freaking Paige makes her freaking return. Everybody said she wasn't going to wrestle, and then she wrestles.
Correction on this point. Cleared to wrestle.
So, it's unbelievable.
That goes to show you I haven't actually watched the product.
I cannot believe that nobody has learned their freaking lesson after all that. And it's not the first time, but this is like the most notable thing that has happened. And this is the type of like, nobody is taking any accountability for any of their fucking shortcomings when it comes to this shit. Which is why I said what I said like a couple weeks ago. Why do you think I needed to take a break from this shit for as long as I can before the frickin' next pay-per-view? It's because of bullshit like this. And listen, God bless Noah for being able to do that, for being able to separate. God bless Jessie for all the abuse she gets and is able to still enjoy that damn product.
Jesse Davin, by the way.
I envy you too. I wish I could have that damn strength.
Jesse the Buckeye on Twitter.
Because it is unbelievable how stuff like that, and I'm not the only one that has just said, thrown their hands up in the air and said, fuck it, man. There has been so many people that I know personally that have seen this type of shit on social media that used to be wrestling fans who do not watch anymore.
True story.
And they're not just a handful or a couple of handfuls.
Yep. Plenty.
That should tell you something.
Way too many to name.
And
some I can't
be
even
a
name.
Message to the fucking wrestlers in the back. Get your shit together and be better than the fucking people that are spreading this fucking clickbait. Somebody, for the love of God, take accountability for your own shit. I beg. God damn it. That goes to Phil, that goes to the Young Bucks, that goes to Kenny, by God Omega. That goes to every single one of you.
Including Scott Colton.
Don't be like them, be better than them.
100%.
So that's it, and then he welcomes Stat Boy. I think I say more here, but that's basically the gist of that fucking clip. We'll get to the next clip in a minute. But, yeah. That's really when I was done. We'll get to another part. There was an open mic night I appeared on where I said I needed to be done. Right? And, you know, it's fucking gross, man. It's fucking gross that it's gotten to this fucking point. Like, nobody is taking any accountability. And the people that are doing it way too fucking late. Right? Apparently Dave is one of them, and fucking, you know, for being horrible at his job at being a journalist. Fucking Tony's doing it for not fucking communicating with his goddamn locker room. It's just fucking unbelievable, dude. And I hope, I actually hope that might be the, Dave somehow, out of all this, is actually the one to kind of mend the fences somehow, behind the scenes. Because that, honest to God, might be what it has to fucking take. It honestly might be what it has to fucking take. And JBL did not give me headphones, by the way, Jack. So what you're saying is, woo, giggles and drops an elbow. Yes. Yeah, that's what the Ric Flair thing. And he says, this is not Dave's job, says Jack, and Eric says, I know the guy well enough that I probably should have. As soon as I saw that quote go, dude, it didn't happen. I could just tell you it didn't happen. Nothing close to that happened. Again, it really depends on if he's being sincere or if he's bullshitting to cover his ass, though. Which, again, Dave has been known to do before. But I didn't, and I'm not saying that it would have stopped any of this, because it probably still would have happened. But it's like, I sort of feel guilty about that. I should have just told him. This is what Dave said. I could share the link if you like. You don't need to share the link. I believe you. If there's one person that I know that I actually could be objective about this shit, Eric, it's probably you. The other one's Jeff, and Aaron, to a lesser extent. Those are the only people I can fucking trust when it comes to shit, because I know you try to fucking formulate your own opinion and are actually level-headed with shit. You don't just go with one fucking side. So yeah, I believe that. But yeah, it just comes down to, it's like, you know, how is nobody taking fucking accountability in the fucking back? Like, why is it Dave and now Tony way too late, but he still took accountability? None of these fucking wrestlers are taking accountability for where they fucked up. Like, I don't even know what the fuck to do. I don't even know what the fuck to think on that, you know. And then, you know, I'll get to this in a minute, but last part of the open mic night here that I wanted to fucking play from October 1st, 2022. So literally a month up to this point.
And he beat Mox. He beat them both.
My issue with that is it should have been Punk winning, because the goal should have always been he drops it to MJF, because that would have been.
They're doing Sunday night heat numbers.
It's better, bro. It may be.
This
Sunday
is me
night
talking
heat
about
numbers,
the ratings before they went and tanked.
But for an upstart company, for how long have they been around now?
3 years.
3 years.
The fact that
Wednesday.
Next week Wednesday, it's been 3 years, and he's been pulling. He's the homegrown AEW guy that's been over the million mark consistently. That's a lot. Like, that's a lot. That's why they didn't want it to be Hangman, because Hangman wouldn't have been that guy.
But James, he's just Tony is just continuing with what would have happened anyways. After CM Punk beat John Moxley, he was gonna then say, "So now I want to handle this guy Hangman Page. How about you come out here and check me now, bitch?" And then, you know what I mean? They would have did that whole thing. And then him and Hangman would have had a match before the whole MJF thing that you spoke on.
Yeah, the thing about that, Mikey T, why I also go back to continuity and what you're saying and building to the ultimate MJF crowning. MJF and Heyman and Page were involved at WWE 2019 when the title was first presented. So there's that continuity right there. And MJF has yet to face Heyman and Page one-on-one.
It's crazy. It's crazy that that whole conversation. Think about that for a second. If these fucking people can just get over their bullshit, do you realize how much money this could fucking generate AEW right now? It's the possibilities are endless right now, dude.
I know.
We got work storylines that they build in. We got shoot elements now. If you could get these guys to be past their BS, and you could have a fatal four-way matchup. Well, you don't have a fatal four-way matchup that can be this organic in your lifetime. It's a 1 in a million shot. Could you imagine MJF, Hangman Page, CM Punk, and Kenny Omega in the same ring for that world title? That would be ridiculous.
Well, why do you got to put Hangman there? He doesn't really deserve to be there anymore.
I put Hangman there because he's the one who started this whole thing.
He's mid-card Page to me.
Fair enough.
Maybe so, maybe
but
so, but because in this storyline he has an integral part in it, that doesn't mean he can't be the first one eliminated.
Yeah, elimination match.
You know,
there's a new way.
They always talk about the pillars of the company. You know, well, here's 4 corners.
Right. You have your 2 longest term storylines that they did for kayfabe, right? And Hangman and Kenny and Punk and MJF, right? Now you have your shoot elements between Punk and Omega and Hangman, right? And then you have your storyline that they build from the first pay-per-view between MJF and Hangman.
Oh, yeah,
all
I forgot
at
about
that
that
point
bit.
that you need to do, if you can get everybody to get on the same page, is build up Kenny and Punk's issues with each other on television. And then even then, I almost forgot Omega and MJF as well. You got to have that match before you have the 4-way. That's all you need left. That's the only piece missing.
To steal a pay-per-view title from another company, this literally is a turning point for AEW.
Right.
and they just can't capitalize on it. That's
because,
the stuff.
Because nobody's
that's
willing
the
to
stuff
work with
that
each other
keeps bringing them down.
Right.
Every
Capital
time they
punishment,
get,
JJ, I like it. Capital
every
punishment,
time
right?
they get
Fucking
to,
Mikey. Hello.
every time they get to one of those turning points,
Yeah.
something comes along and brings them down.
Yep.
It's 5 steps forward, 3 steps back.
Yep.
With AEW every fucking time.
And
You know, if that media scrum had gone the way it was supposed to, and even if Punk went into business for himself, and then when he was approached in the locker room, they could have worked their shit out.
right there and then.
We could literally be talking about 1.5 numbers instead of 1.0 numbers.
Yep. And and therein lies the problem.
Exactly.
This is why I brought the question up. Yes, is MJF doing great with the circumstance given to him? Oh my God, yeah. Nobody else could.
MJF
be
is
that guy.
turning. MJF is totally turning chicken shit into chicken salad in the situation.
But imagine what could have been, dude.
I know.
Jesus Christ. I feel bad for Max the most because he was just looking out for himself because he knew how much of a draw he could potentially be. And ultimately gets ruined by Phil's BS and the Young Bucks BS and Kenny's BS and Hangman's BS and that whole ridiculous menage a trois going on over there, argumentative-wise. And they can't
I should have just called it a fucking harem, but, you know, argumentative-wise, but same fucking thing.
patch that shit up and just be done with it and make money with it.
Nope.
It's unbelievable. Like, dude, that's why I bring up the Nancy Benoit and Sullivan thing, because it's like, these guys had every reason not to work with each other on a professional level anymore, but they
still did.
And they still did.
Or like I put it in a more modern sense for our more recent fans that are watching, Matt Hardy, Edge, and Lita.
Yes! Oh my God! I didn't even think about that. And here's another thing that has now been uttered by Matt. And this was, I think, a couple weeks ago he mentioned this on the podcast. Vince McMahon literally sat those two down. He said, "That's cute. You did that bullshit on my dime and caused a lot of grief for me, Matt. Edge, same with you for even banging his wife. What we're going to do now is we're going to operate this into a work-shoot storyline, and we're going to do this on my dime. If you guys even think of going into business for yourselves, I will make sure you are all blackballed from this industry and never wrestle again. Understand?" Matt and Edge just said, "Yes, boss." That's the type of leader Tony needs to be right now.
Well, Tony
Exactly.
did say at one point that he's not going to take any more BS following that scrum, so we'll
Yeah,
see
well-
if he backs up his words.
Well, it's time. Stop taking BS. Take all the BS from WWE and stop taking the BS from your fucking people in your actual roster. How about that one, Tony?
That's pretty much everything there on that fucking clip. I just wanted to fucking play that there. That shows you how I feel about pro wrestling. Alright, when it comes to the AEW side. Now, I'm gonna explain a side, and I know Jack's in the fucking chat, and I'm about to drop a bombshell on you in a minute, but I'm just gonna read Eric's comment first. Also, speaking of tribalism, I regret to inform you that a new tribe has been formed, the Vince McMahon Tribalist. They compared WWE's clashes Roman retaining to parental abuse and said Vince's WWE is better. Oh, that's great. No, not that way, Jack. I just got a bombshell that I'm gonna drop verbally. Eric also says, when WWE's Clash ending happening, I assume this is Clash at the Castle, happened and the reaction it got, and the all-out debacle happened, I almost did consider fully leaving Twitter because of how volatile it got that weekend. Yeah, that's Twitter. Man, I hope it implodes. I wouldn't even be mad if fucking Twitter died tomorrow, I ain't even gonna lie to you. I might honestly delete it at some point. I have no use for it other than to fucking promote my shit to you guys, really. That's the only reason I even fucking keep Twitter around. So here's the bomb, Jack. Alright, and here's the bomb to a lot of fucking people that are a fan of this company. After what Kota Ibushi came out with, and after what a lot of fucking people have come out with following from it, fuck New Japan Pro Wrestling. Fuck their practices. Fuck how they fucking make people work through injuries. And don't let them take any time off until they almost have a fucking eye completely gone and vision dead like Tetsuya Naito. Fuck them working with the Yakuza. Fuck Gato for fucking trying to sexually assault Kota Ibushi. Fuck that whole goddamn presentation right now. I want nothing to do with Japan. Just from that alone. I don't care if it's a fucking cultural difference. Fuck off with that shit. I'm good. I want no part of that at all either. So, New Japan, without question, out the fucking window. Japan Wrestling entirely out the fucking window just for that. Because I can't do that. I'll watch old New Japan shit, but that's about as far as I'm willing to fucking go when it comes to that. Now that I got that fucking company out of the way, let's attack the final piece of the fucking puzzle here. WWE. So I said all that I needed to say about AEW and the bullshit that they've got going on. We've talked about the Tribalist. Thank you, Eric, for bringing it up. I'll talk about this right now, right? WWE fans, which I've talked about on this fucking channel, alright? Not all, but most online, have gotten so fucking bad and so unbearable to the point where friends of mine that I know in this industry, whether they're fans or actually working there, have been harassed, stalked, doxxed, hurt, bullied for an opinion that they have on the sport. If you're a wrestler, you get it 10 times fucking worse, because I've seen wrestlers like Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, however you want to go by, get fucking harassed on a photo that he had with his daughter on Instagram, where he was planting a tree with his daughter on Earth Day. Right? I already mentioned Triple H being fucking petty about his fucking beef with AEW and the fact that they be developmental in his fucking words, which ultimately buried his fucking brand. He was trying to make a legitimate third brand at one point. So good on you, Triple H there. Fucking idiot. And then he also fucking... You know, he's been producing good fucking TV. Good for him. I've been watching clips. But, like, that's about it. It's been my wrestling consumption. But, I mean, like, it's just fucking petty. You know? And I could say that over and over again. And the bottom line is I fucking have with this. And especially with this fucking last point I'm going to fucking talk about, right? I've definitely talked about all this, but the last video clip I'm going to show is this Saudi Arabia thing. I know people have seen this fucking floating around with all the fucking political unrest going on in fucking Saudi Arabia right now. Damn, so I shouldn't get a job with New Japan Strong and get my visa. Hey, if you want to, more power to you. Just watch out for Gato. That's all I'm going to tell you, Jack. Eric, WWE Tribalists get a full-blown civil war was going on. You got WWE Tribalists fighting Vince Tribalist over WWE making shots at Vince. Yeah, I mean, I wonder how many fucking people that tuned off from the product, to be honest with you. You know, just that alone and the fucking argumentative bullshit going on there and wrestlers even feeding into it in any capacity. Which I'm glad WWE stars are, but that's because they got a fucking tight niche. I'll give Triple H credit where credit's due there. Tony Khan should learn a thing or two. But, well, at least you gave consent, Jack. Coda didn't, apparently. Anyway. Allegedly. This fucking shit. With Saudi Arabia.
AEW may be tittle-tattling about a little backstage scuffle. WWE is literally in the danger zone because they have made their way over to Saudi Arabia for this weekend's Crown Jewel event, and the Wall Street Journal just published a report to say that there has been an intelligence warning of an imminent attack from Iran in the country. Now, Fightful Select said that the company remains on high alert amid attack concerns, though at the time of me writing and recording this, Crown Jewel is still scheduled to go ahead. WWE are set to hold their press conference today in Riyadh for the show too. Now, Fightful added that WWE has been monitoring the situation since the news broke of this threat to the kingdom and has put emergency security contingencies in place. I just hope that everyone manages to stay safe this weekend. On to some light.
How many times have you guys have heard me disavow Saudi Arabia? Them going to Saudi Arabia, and the reason they have gone to Saudi Arabia. The actual fucking reasons, not the fucking bullshit PR ones that they fucking pass out online. How many times have you heard me disavow that? Type a 1 in the chat if you heard that many times. It's rhetorical anyway, but just humor me. When that bullshit was going on in 2019, I think it was 2019, late 2019, and all those wrestlers was fucking stranded, and they spoke out after the fact. Most of those people that spoke out were subsequently released. They are now back in the company, most of them, or they have gone on to greener pastures, or they just retired from the business in general, some of them, right? I'd love to know why this is still a fucking deal other than the goddamn gross amount of money you're making. Even if Triple H wants to turn this negative into a fucking positive, it's not worth the fucking wrestler's safety anymore. The responsible thing here was to pull out of this fucking show, and if nothing else, wait until the shit passes over. But no, because we gotta get that Saudi payday, even though it wasn't even his fucking idea, wasn't Hunter's idea, wasn't Stephanie's idea. We gotta fucking do it because fucking probably some bullshit contract negotiations where they have to fucking meet the demand. They don't feel like they should be pulling out. They don't feel like they should be doing any of that because there's too much money on the fucking table. God fucking forbid you put the athletes first and their safety fucking first. They keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. It doesn't matter if it's WWE, doesn't matter if it's New Japan, doesn't matter if it's AEW. The three biggest fucking companies in the goddamn world are making the fucking same bullshit mistakes, not taking accountability for any of them, and then blaming the fucking fans, wrestlers, or owner alike. So why the fuck do I even try with this shit anymore? That's my real fucking question to you all. Why do I try? Because I'll be honest, I gain nothing from talking about this. I gain all negative and nothing positive. There are certain things I like about pro wrestling. Alright? Let me make that very fucking clear. But as a whole, with everything that I have covered today, and this was Exhibit E, by the way, for WWE, ha ha ha, of why I hate. No, hate isn't even a fucking strong enough word, loathe professional wrestling today. The fact that we're even calling it professional is fucking laughable at all. You might as well just call it fucking wrestling. Because there's nothing professional about it. Not anymore. And the few that are professional about wrestling, they're getting shit on. They're getting fucked over. In one way or another. You could be like MJF, who's getting his fucking ratings plummeted because of bullshit. You get Kota Ibushi, who's done all the right things and get fucking sexually assaulted, allegedly, by Gato, the fucking head booker. Or it could be in WWE, and your safety is on the line legitimately in Saudi Arabia. Why do I even try? If you people are not going to take anything I say seriously, and the fans aren't going to take anything that I say seriously, that this is actually hurting the fucking industry, not helping it, why bother trying on a fucking weekly basis other than one show a week? If it were fully up to me, and I wasn't fucking good, and I wasn't just a good fucking decent human being, I would be done with open mic night. I've already made this known to JJ and Jeff. They're well aware I'd be done with open mic night. But I already made the fucking commitment to stay. Before any of this fucking Punk and Elite drama ever happened. So, I already said I'd stay. So I am. But, going forward, when I'm on open mic night, I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. And if I know for a fact that I've talked about this fucking topic before and it's going to get me pissed off and angry, guess what I'm fucking doing? Turning my camera off, going to get a drink, take a piss, take a shit, whatever. That's my piss break. I'm not doing a fucking thing. You can put me in the fucking green room for all I give a shit. Because I refuse to beat a dead horse going forward. I'm not doing it anymore. So I'm still on open mic night, but I'm going to be doing things a lot differently going forward. Because I cannot do this anymore. Even on a weekly basis, the way I've been doing it. I can tell you for certain that on FTW shows, you will not see me cover modern wrestling unless it's a fucking watch party. I might as well, just to get together with the fucking boys. That's 4 shows a year for me, so I don't really give a shit. And then anything else on the Jeff Meacham Network commentary-wise. But if I need a week, I'm saying I'm off. Because if I need that week, I need that week. I'm going to take time to myself. Because I'm not going to fucking continue to scream at the ether and then have the fucking echo bounce back at me and expect to fucking sound back in return. I'm not doing it anymore. Mistress Audio can confirm this, and I'm hoping she does in the comments. I was on open mic night a week ago, before the Halloween edition. Part of it was on me, which is why I'm still on open mic night, because I could have handled it better and I could have just come up with topics that I would have been positive about. I instead chose a topic that would be negative, and then the next 6 topics that JJ picked ended up being negative, which I'm not blaming him. Like, that's just the nature of the fucking industry at this point. There was like 2 positive topics that whole show. You could literally see me on the show eating soft tacos, looking deadpan the entire time. I was fucking miserable. Miserable. I don't even know if miserable is a fucking proper way to describe it. I'm pretty sure I was in another world. I don't even know if I was in the same plane of existence. I kept eating. I finished my food. finally we got a topic positive about like Ultimo Dragon and his retirement tour, which I was excited for. And by the way, if I do get a chance, I am gonna go to an AEW if he does come to an AEW event or any wrestling event just to see Ultimo Dragon live. It doesn't matter what company it is. I'm not missing my chance, right? It's like my last bucket list item to attend live anyway. After the show went off the air, and Mikey T was able to actually fucking make me laugh again and get myself back in a positive spirit, I was so emotionally fucking drained. And for those who don't understand, like, wrestling, like, or rather, autism for people, especially if it's full-blown like I have it, man, that shit drains the shit out of you. Dead serious. It drains the fuck out of you. Right? It could be a little fucking thing, right? But if it's just like, if you don't have some format of fucking control, you lose your mind already. Now imagine that's the case every fucking week, and you're screaming about the same shit that you wish people fucking heard. That's not good for my mental health. And it was so bad that it actually affected my fucking physical health. And it has been affecting my physical features, actually. Bags over my eyes. I'm actually having... There was hair thinning at one point. Before I took my full-on sabbatical, pretty much. I think it's still kind of thinning, but it's fluffing out better now. But, like, it was bad. But after open mic night, where there was, like, 7 negative topics, one of which I brought up, which, fuck me. I wish I picked the positive in retrospect. It was awful. I felt awful. I got off the show. My legs were fucking numb. Like, completely shot. And that day, I walked a considerable amount, which I don't do often. But when I do, it's usually to, like, hang out with friends or whatever. And I did that with a friend named Brian. Alright? And so my legs were already kind of in pain a little bit, but it wasn't, like, unbearable. By the time I was done with that podcast, it was fucking excruciating. It was so bad that the pain shot from my legs to my fucking head, right? Gave me a fucking migraine on top of everything, to the point where I needed my dad to give me extra strength fucking Tylenol. And Mistress told me fucking ways to do it, like apparently licking salt out of the fucking hand. I didn't even know that was a fucking thing. That can help with fucking bad legs or whatever. I'm eating a fucking banana for potassium intake. I'm doing whatever I can to fucking get this thing not to be as excruciating, so I can go to fuck to sleep. Right? And it was fucking rough. I was not okay. I finally ended up fucking sleeping after just Mistress Audio and I were just chatting shit, basically. I refuse to get I refuse to get like that again. And the only reason I'm even talking about any of this is because I want this to be the definitive final guide as to why I am not covering wrestling on any of the FTW properties anymore, with the exception of watch parties and open mic night. And even then, that's going to be in a limited fucking capacity, and I'm just going to fucking take my time to do whatever, right? I can't do this to myself again. If I get like that, I already let them know I'm gone. I'm off open mic night. If I have another instance like that again where the fucking toll that it takes turns physical, I'm out. Hell, I haven't even fucking fully gotten over it, because I finally popped a fucking zit from that time, and I got it on that week, and it was getting worse and worse right here on the back of my fucking neck. I finally popped the fucking thing yesterday, and that thing was giving me fucking neck issues and jaw issues. It was bad, man. And I know it was from that fucking the way I felt on that podcast. Not the podcast itself. I have no problem with Noah, no problem with JJ, no problem with Mikey T, no problem with anybody on open mic night. No problem with Jeff either. There was no issues between me and any of those guys. I want to make that very clear now. It is halfway on me because I can't do it. I can't handle this shit. That's just how it is. I wish I had the fucking resolve of Noah. I wish I had the fucking resolve of Jesse Davin. Reality is, I don't. Something had to give. And if that means I can't cover wrestling anymore every week on multiple different shows, so fucking be it. I'll happily be producer man behind the scenes, take my fucking headphones off and be on this contraption or play a game while they're fucking doing their own shit. That's what I'll do. Unless it's on open mic night or watch party, you won't catch me dead covering modern wrestling. Not gonna happen. That's a bygone era now. Would this be a bad time to tell you this is the same week that WWE had their infamous mechanical issues? Honestly, Eric, don't know. Don't care. You don't even need to inform me on what the hell's going on there. So, that's that. Don't ask me for any more modern wrestling coverage. Unless it's on open mic night, you can tune in on that. It's on the Jeff Meacham Network. It's on Casa D18 Studios. And don't expect me to rant about shit I've already ranted about on this podcast. Or in any other show on FTW. Like, there are certain things that I will cite. Be like, I cited this on this podcast. Go check that out. I'm not covering it twice. Unless I think I can handle it. In that case, like, and what I mean by that is, like, I could be neutral. And calm. Fuck no, dude. That ends that. No more ranting going forward, man. I'm done screaming about pro wrestling. I'm done screaming about what they should and shouldn't be doing. It's fucking tiresome. And I'm, you know, the whole meme of, like, you know, I'm 27 years old and I'm tired, and, you know, we meme about that all the fucking time, man. But, like, I mean this. Like, this isn't a fucking joke. I feel like I've aged like 40 years because of this shit. And that's just me being a fucking fan. I can't even imagine what it's like being in this fucking industry with the way everything's going on. And by the way, if you think I'm the only one, I gotta mention this last fucking point. Because I said I was gonna mention this point, and then this will be the end of the podcast. The main reason people tuned out of football wasn't because of the political stance. As much as a lot of people would like to fucking tell you that, that's not the real reason. Here's the real reason. There's already enough political unrest in this country as it is. Nobody wants to fucking tune in the goddamn NFL to see that happen right in front of their fucking eyes when they already see it everywhere else. You know, look at fucking Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov and the house that fucking drew. Have they drawn a house like that since? Or have they turned more fans off because of that bullshit debacle where they just fought after the bell rang? People already deal with enough fucking, you know, unscheduled violence as it is in this country. I don't think they needed more of that, right? Fucking, you know, with entertainment that isn't sports, right? And even sports, like, they barely fucking make this big of a fucking fuss with it. And, you know, people have their favorites, whatever. But, like, bro, I want you to keep this fucking shit in mind, man. Like, if you're watching a movie, you don't get this type of shit. You get drama in Hollywood, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of it, right? But more often than not, entertainment, you get the fucking drama way before or way after. And even then, it doesn't ruin your enjoyment of the fucking movie because it's 3 hours long and you're seeing it one time. Right? Same with the video game, same with whatever, right? And people are going to have their likes and dislikes on that type of shit, but ultimately, if you're going to see something that you thoroughly enjoy, chances are you're not going to have fucking bullshit backstage drama in Hollywood fucking ruin it until way after. And by that point, the movie has already been far past that. You're like, well, that's a shame. And move on with your day. Wrestling, you don't get a fucking break. And that's part of the fucking problem. That's the problem. Remember that this shit is supposed to be fictitious at nature. And on very rare occasions should you ever blend reality into the fiction. If you can't make money, it don't make sense. Stick to the fictitious shit you put on your television screen. Otherwise, count me the fuck out weekly. You won't catch me dead watching weekly wrestling anymore. And if I do, at some point, and my stance changes in 10 years, I could guarantee you will still not hear me cover the shit every fucking week. I will wean my shit off as much as I fucking need to for my own mental sanity if I have to. Sorry if that disappoints people. If you subscribe to me because of wrestling content, I'm sorry. But listen, Jeff Meacham's Talk Wrestling is on this channel now. You have any questions, you can talk to him. Noah will be covering shit on ATW View. Owen will be covering wrestling on his channel. So go subscribe to those people. Subscribe to Owen Finch. I'll still be on those retros, right? If I'm that much of a draw to you fucking people, I'll still be on his retros. I'll be covering shit. I'll be on watch-alongs on Casey's channel, I'm sure, that are covering retro wrestling shit. Hello. How you doing, JJ? You know, I'll still be on open mic night every week, right? Talked about that. Just gotta be, you know, if I covered a topic already, I'm just not gonna fucking comment, really. Because, again, what's the point in beating a dead horse? You know. I'll be on shows covering stuff. You know. I'll still be covering retro wrestling. I'll be covering modern wrestling every week on open mic night, which you can check out on JJ's channel or Jeff Meacham's channel. But, you know, otherwise, the only type of wrestling content you're going to get is talk wrestling here every week. At least for right now. I don't know how long that will last, but for the first time airing, Jeff Meacham's show was on this channel. You go check that out right now, right after you're done with this. So go check that out if you haven't. But yeah, that's it, man. As much as I can, I'm going to avoid this shit at all costs. Dead serious. Next week I'm back on open mic night. You can check that out, like I said. But as far as anything on the FTW brand covering modern wrestling that isn't a watch party, which is 4 times a year on this channel at least, I'm done. As much as I can be, I'm going to be done with this shit. But check that shit out. Subscribe to JJ. Subscribe to Casa D18 Studios. He's good peeps. Also, subscribe to Mistress Audio. Mistress Audio did an ASMR sibling roleplay, shared experiences, which is a fictitious story based on real events. This is more of an educational thing about autistic people being bullied, autistic siblings being bullied, if you will. Check that out. This week coming up, JJ. I'll be on, or unless there's not an open mic night this week. But I'll be on whatever the recent episode is coming up. But yeah, check out the ASMR sibling roleplay, shared experiences. It's about autism. It's about people being bullied with autism. It's about the siblings overcoming the bullies and, you know, going through their trauma and all that shit. Go check that out. It's a really well done piece. Kuzan was a part of that. Farlord Kuzan was in this as a guest voice actor, along with Casey Gallagher, which you could check his channel out at youtube.com/C/LukeLynch12T19 or youtube.com/user/MetalNut1120. Check out Casey's channel as well as Jack's channel, and also subscribe to him on Twitch. Jack, if you want, you can link your Twitch username down below. I think you're allowed to because you're a fucking thing, if I'm correct. Oh, by the way, what am I doing here? Am I able to fucking... I want to make you guys admins real quick. Let me do that real quick before I continue with my plugs here. Add moderator to Wrestleverse. And JJ, you are also a moderator. Cool. Alright, anyway, back to the plugs. So yeah, go check that out. That's like the one I'm uber proud of. We had some fun with some retro wrestling reviews, like I said. On Casey's channel, we did the Watch-Along, which I need to get that out, thank you, of Halloween Havoc 1997. That's the one featuring Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero for the Cruiserweight Championship. It was Masked versus Title. So go check that out. Also on that show, as far as good matches are concerned, Lex Luger versus Scott Hall, Randy Savage versus DDP in a Las Vegas gambling match or whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know. It's a last man standing match. And a Yuji Nagata versus Ultimo Dragon opener. So go check that out. There was also some funny, so bad it's good moments like Mongo McMichael versus Alex Wright, and boy did he put his fucking working boots on. Big bratwurst indeed. Big cojones as well. Go check that out. We absolutely crapped on the main event. Fair warning, we crapped on the main event, but we had fun with it nonetheless. So go check that out. Also check out our review on Owen's channel. We did that on Halloween. So literally 3 days ago. Check that out. That's our review. It was one of the best reviews I think we've done for the Retro Wrestling Review series in ages. It was around 2 hours and 20 minutes. Nikos led the majority of it. He did a hell of a fucking job. Go check that out if you haven't already. That's pretty much the end of my plugs. And before I end the podcast, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna look up a kitty. Okay? To leave you on a high note. And then before I did I fucking, is it Meowers? Is it Meowers? Looking for the cat. Where's the cat? Jesus Christ, what a fucking thumbnail be behind, really? Alright, hold on. Where the fuck is... Oh, wait, no. Yeah, it's in my history, isn't it? We have cats. There's cats. There it is. Alright. Everybody get ready for cat. That's what we're going to do. We're going to end with a cat. But before we do... his name is Dorito, but... Oh, no, Nacho. Sorry. Nacho. I almost called him Dorito like an idiot. Hey, James. Next week or tomorrow just for... Oh, stupid. Entertainment is supposed to be a form of escapism from the world we get stressed out from. Thank you. Amen, Eric. That wraps up this bow. Speaking of which, here's some entertainment. A cat purring. And by the way, this cat purrs loud, so pay attention. This will be how we end the podcast. That's not a cat. There's somebody breathing heavy. Look at this boy. Look at this boy, Nacho. Look at him. He's so cute. Dude, his purr is fucking loud, man. It sounds like a motor's going off. Go subscribe to Meowzers. So, Meowzer with a Z instead of an S. And then 3 Z's at the end. Go check him out. He's a good boy. Very good boy. As the cat is purring in the background, remember that we are all human beings. And that the human being can only take so much, right? I have been JHebert. This has been my side of things. And until next time, I don't know. I don't even know if there will be a next time, but if there is a next time, we'll see you on the JHebert side. Peace out.
Something to